Hello, welcome back to another episode of Podcast 572. As always, I'm your host, Kyle, joined by my two friends, Dan and Matt. We'll do what we always do. We'll go through what we've been playing, what's been going on. I'm going to kick it off with the big shocker, big surprise I put in the doc here. And I'll just allude to
we don't know.
You don't know what it is.
I don't know. It must be very important.
I will tell you, and this is only going to play out for people that watch the podcast. But you should have a hint if you look behind me on my shelf. What's missing?
Dude, I don't know. Batman? It's all Batman.
The disc drive?
The disc drive. Oh.
I have a PlayStation 5 Professional.
You're a piece of shit.
My God, what the hell is wrong with you, dude?
Good Lord.
I will go through the reasons why, or the main reason was, and not to churn the podcast political, but I got scared of the tariffs. So that was my main reason where I was like, I don't know, because I'm not, like, nobody's paying $1,000 for this thing. And I mean, we'll talk about it later in the news. I still don't think GTA is coming out this year, but I want to play GTA the best way you can. And it ain't going to come out for PC for probably like a year and a half.
That'll be after. A while.
So I'm not waiting that long. So yes, so we'll dive into the PlayStation 5 Professional, and I'll preface it by saying it's not great.
But yeah. Jesus Christ. After everything we've talked about.
No shit, Sherlock.
Good Lord.
So the only game that I've tried thus far that takes advantage of it and looks moderately better would be Space Marine 2. And I'll talk about Space Marine 2 in a minute because I haven't even played that game yet. But everything else that I've played on it it's just the same thing. My issue with this versus the PS4 Pro is how this stuff is implemented is terrible. Like, so for example, there's nothing to indicate, like on a lot of these games that are supposedly, have a pro patch, there's nothing to indicate that it's actually doing anything. It just has the same options. And because it's not like, if you remember back to the PS4 versus the PS4 Pro, the biggest difference there a lot of times was like, okay, you have a Pro now, so this game might run at 60 frames. That's not the case here. Most games run at 60 frames on the regular PlayStation. So,
right.
And they don't differentiate or really tell you. There's also, if you look at the list just on the digital store, it's not accurate. Like at all. There are games on there that probably that I've tried that are like definitely are not PlayStation Pro enhanced. I did see today, but I think you and I talked about going back to it at some point, but Helldivers apparently had a stealth PS5 Pro upgrade the other day.
That one doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me either. I'd like to try it, but I will say like that aspect of it has been incredibly disappointing because it seems like it could be implemented a lot better and it doesn't seem very straightforward. But with that, I went through the whole, spiel of connecting the drive to it, which I will say, like, even though I'm not a fan of that aspect of having to purchase a drive, I like that physical button on that drive a lot.
Yeah, like I told you, my
regular one.
That since I had to change out mine for another one, and it's actually like a button. Yeah,
I like that
better.
It's there and it's not confusing with like the other buttons on the main system,
right? Because it's on its own thing. It's not. Because
it's like, system. I went to go eject a disc. Oh, the system's off now.
Turn it off. Whoops.
Because they're both like the same thing.
They're right next to each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So, also like the other thing I'll say is like for anybody out there, like one of the other bummers is like if you want this thing vertical, you have to get a stand separately. I got one on Amazon for $15 that lights up. So like it's not, you don't have to pay $30 for the official stand.
You fancy fuck.
And then the other stand I had for the other one lights up too, actually. So, but it you don't have to pay $30 for that. You can find a pretty good deal on that stuff. So, but like I said, the only game I've really tested out with it that takes advantage that I've noticed, besides I tried the Dynasty Warriors demo. That's the reason I tried it. And that game does definitely look better with that. So, but Space Marine 2. So I played the intro of Space Marine 2. Got through the intro, like the whole intro mission of that game, to where it opens up where it's like, okay, now if you want to continue, you can have co-op sessions and that kind of stuff. So I haven't played much of it, but I will say the game looks like substantially better on this system. Like, it's kind of surprising how good that game looks in comparison. So that is one I'll give it to, where like, okay, this thing is taking advantage. The game that I should really try that I haven't, and the reason I haven't is because, like, man, I don't want to download that big of a file, would be Rebirth. But I kind of want to see, because I know that it takes advantage of that. So that is the other one that I'd like to try, but I haven't. Honestly, like I finished, so I went through Red Dead. I'm done doing stuff with Red Dead right now, and I've just been playing Mass Effect 2. Since the last time we recorded, we talked about like, well, we should, I've been on you of like, you should play the Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
I do want to play the first one again.
Yeah. Well, I got to the point where I was looking, I'm like, man, I got time until Avowed, because Avowed's the 18th. And that's like the next game I'm probably going to jump in. I don't want to jump into anything that's like going to take a lot of time. And Mass Effect is something I can easily bounce in and out of because I've played it so many times. So I'm like midway through Mass Effect 2 and enjoying that. And then the only other real thing besides just like, and again, it's been testing random games and stuff on the Pro, but like I said, the other one that I should try and install is Hogwarts Legacy. Apparently that also looks a lot better. But Laundry Store Simulator, right after we recorded last time, they put out a new update that added another area of that building you can open up, and I believe this is the area you can get the food vendor.
Oh,
and
okay.
So that's a whole new element to that game. And some other stuff that they added that you can unlock. But my negative part about it is, with each one of these updates, they give you a new like set of tasks that you have to do in order to unlock that. And most of the tasks are like very simple. You'll finish it in like a day or two cycle of the game. But the very last one is you have to complete 15 of these home deliveries, which is like where the delivery guy will go and grab the laundry, come back from a house, and then go again. You only get one of those a day. So you have to complete 15 day cycles to get that done.
That's a little rough.
I am halfway done with that. So that, and I have to do that in order to unlock the new stuff. So I haven't seen the new stuff yet, but I'm working on it. So, but I do really still like that game, and I'm glad they keep updating it. I mean, these are all free updates. It's not like you're paying for it. So, but I've enjoyed a lot of that. So I mean, I will say I've installed some stuff on that system. The other thing too is I totally forgot about this until I set the thing up, is that it is 2 terabyte out the gate. And I totally forgot about that. So as someone who never upgraded my storage in the regular PS5, that's a nice bonus. So to have that 2
it
terabyte,
is,
because I ran up against that all the time.
Yeah,
like,
but
I gotta uninstall this.
At the same time, like an actual drive, like to put in there, as long as you buy one at the right time, they're not that expensive.
Yeah, I feel like when the generation started, it was, but right now,
it's
pretty.
And in the beginning, they tried to trick you into, we got to have a Sony kind of one.
Yeah, they did that too, but at least it's not proprietary like Microsoft, where you have to buy that specific stupid
card.
Thing. Yeah. The only other weird thing I've been playing is I've been on this kick lately of like going on the PSN and either finding really cheap puzzle like match 3 games and just blowing through those, or those weird anime games we were talking about that are like kind of questionable to be on there.
Well,
but easy
most
platinums.
of that thing is kind of questionably on there,
but also easy platinums. So
I feel like a lot of the thing on that PSN network is
there's a lot of questionable things. I think I sent you a picture last night of like a makeshift TCG game, and then I realized after I took that picture backed out that in the next row under it was another one.
There's that. What's the weird one I saw yesterday?
There's supermarket.
Like
there's
pharmacy manager or something. Okay. I saw yesterday.
Probably
the best part about that one is if you click into it, There's no screenshots. There's no nothing.
Ooh,
it's just like the splash page. I was like, ooh, that's an AI game for sure.
Did it have a good star rating?
It's not out yet.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, it's coming.
That makes sense.
Got to get ready for it.
That makes sense. Because there was a couple of those too, but I was looking through that sale of like, okay, this game looks kind of interesting, and then I would look at the star rate. I'm like, ooh, only 2.5.
Yeah, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, maybe no.
Anything where it's not recognizable and it has a low score is got to be pure garbage.
It has to be. So then I haven't tried it yet, but in just looking through that stuff, I bought a game yesterday that was, I think, 89 cents. But it looks like it had high reviews, and I think it's normally really cheap too, like $1.50, $2. But it looks like a modern version of Star Tropics.
Oh,
that ain't gonna play. I can't remember the name. It's something Island, like Rust Island or something. It had a weird name, but it's a top-down NES style. So, I'll report back on that next time. So, but I haven't tried it yet, and I also bought, and I have not played it yet because it was on this sale too, really cheap. That Exit 8 game.
Oh, I know that game. Yeah,
the loop one. I have not played it yet. I literally got it last night, but I'll be checking.
Did you buy the real one or the knockoff one?
I bought the real one.
Okay,
I saw the knockoff one.
There's like one that's
Exit 9.
Yeah, completely
the knockoff.
Complete knockoff.
It's more expensive. The knockoff one is more expensive. So.
I'm not surprised because I think the trick is to make people think it's a sequel.
I'm sure that's the entire premise of why they did that. So, of
course.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. So I'll have more to say the next time we record about the Pro itself and about some of those games that I purchased. But at this time I'm kind of really just waiting for Avowed. So I'm hyped on playing that game, even though Microsoft doesn't seem to be very hyped on releasing it. So
well, you'd almost forget that it's coming.
So,
it's
but
hey,
I look forward to playing it. So, but I'll kick it over to you. You got some.
I've played mostly garbage.
Okay.
Coming off the high.
I wouldn't say
one of them
is game in here is garbage because I played it.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to go in that order, but coming off the pure high of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, so far my favorite game of the year, and it would have been probably
your game of the year last year.
Might have been game of the year last year. It would have been very close. Probably top 2. I've played the recent PS5 release of Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings, which is a PS2 game that was originally supposed to be a 360 game that was canceled. And it was also on Wii and PSP, and the PSP version is actually the best somehow. This game is absolute dog shit. It is terrible. To be clear, I have the platinum for it.
I was gonna say, did you platinum?
Yeah, because it's play through the game and collect everything.
Okay.
It's awful. Everything about it is bad. It's clunky. The combat's terrible. The traversal is awful. Yes, he doesn't sound like him at all.
No, none of the older games.
It's a completely original story. It's you're going after the Staff of Moses. It's awful. It's like everything about it. It's the camera, the puzzles, the checkpoint system, the just the sheer lack of effort that's put into most of the game. Like all of the collectibles are just floating Indiana Jones hat icons. That's all they are. And it's like that's supposed to be like an artifact. Yeah, man, no, it's not. You got 75% away through this puzzle and fell off of a cliff on accident.
You
start the whole fucking thing over again.
Awesome.
Shit, dude. Or you got it's the weird way it does it is there's like 6 levels, but some of them are broken into like 10 parts. You go on if you're in part 8 and you missed a collectible or something and you need to go back, you don't restart the level because you'll restart from the beginning. You need to quit, come back in, pick that part of the level, go in and get. It's a fucking mess.
Awful.
It's crazy to me that this is the one they chose to do because like you would think that part of the logic behind it is like let's try to get people in the mood for an Indiana Jones game that's coming to PlayStation.
That's got to be the reason why.
But when you have a better one, an Emperor's Tomb, or even the Lego one, that would be a better release. Like, the Lego one is stuck on PS3. Make that playable on PS4.
I'm surprised they haven't done, like, a new version that adds the last movie to it.
Yeah, like...
It just does, like, a
Well, because
big 5-movie collection.
But make it play like the first one and not the second one.
Yeah.
The second one was that bullshit like hub area stuff. Like, no, just make it be levels. It's terrible. I don't know how else to explain it.
It's only $6, but
that's the only reason I bought it. Like, if it had been 12 or 15, I would have waited. But when I saw it was 6, I'm like, all right, we'll do it. No, we shouldn't have done it. It's bad. Even if you like Indiana Jones,
I'll point out that's the normal price. It's not on a
sale. Oh no, it's $6.
It's normally just $6.
I don't get it.
Maybe they gave you a really crappy Indiana Jones game, so when they release the good one, you'll be excited, like more excited.
Yeah, see, that's what they're going to do is they're going to get people now that are waiting, but then they'll also get people after they play that one go, I want to play more. There's this other one.
Game.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yep.
Bad. It's about rating games on PlayStation. I should go on there and rate that on like a 1.
Like a 1?
Yeah.
Please do.
So I played that. That's done. I played Jurassic World Evolution 2 because I realized I had it in my library. And I was looking for one that was like it must have been.
It had to have been, okay.
And I was looking for something in that like sim world kind of building thing. It's fine.
Not bad.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's
does
fine
what
for
it's
what
supposed to do, I guess. I think there's a little too many systems in it for like how to research and how to make this, and they don't do a super great job of explaining it. You have to kind of play through the story of the game, which is like little tutorial levels, which there's probably a better way they could have done that because they try to tie it into the end of World, like the movie Jurassic World, because like they have to bring the characters back, but it's not them, and it's a strange park builder game that is. The other thing about it is like you can't really build a ton. It's really just about
it's limited to
building
what you can build
fences for the dinosaurs and keeping them happy, and that's about all it is. So like I tried some of the challenge mode stuff. It's okay. It's a little daunting if you don't know what you're doing. Like you really have to play and know what you're doing to.
It's better than the first one.
I never played the first one.
I
never played it, but I'd have to assume this is better than that.
Yeah.
So I played through that. That's okay. I'll probably go back in and out of it, but I don't know how long it's going to keep me.
Sure.
Yeah, tied to it. And then the last thing I did, and I realized because I never finished this game back in the day.
I never did either because I got to the certain point that I think you did and was like, maybe I'll come back to this.
I finished. So I think in the beginning I only replaced. So this I've been playing Life is Strange just to like kind of play through
the original.
Yeah, the original one.
This is like the newer version.
Because again, this is just in my library. This isn't the remastered one. This is just like the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's been in my library for God knows how long. I finished through chapter 2 out of 5. I think in the beginning I only finished chapter 1. Because chapter 2 I definitely did not play because that one goes some places towards the end. That gets real dark towards the end.
Then it was chapter 2 I finished. Okay.
Yeah, because spoilers for an incredibly old game.
10-year-old game.
You have to basically talk that girl off the ledge from killing herself.
Okay,
well, holy shit!
Then
that's the end of chapter 2.
Second. Okay, that's as far as I got.
That is dark as hell. I did not.
It's pretty dark.
You sense that coming while you're playing it. Like you're going to have to do this at some point.
But you don't think it's going to actually go there?
I don't think it's going to go. I didn't think it would go that far. And apparently, she can jump.
I know she can because she did in mine.
Oh, I saved.
That's why I stopped playing.
Yeah, okay. I was able to save her, and I was like.
I didn't like that happened, and I didn't feel like going back and playing through that chapter again at that time. So I just shelved it for a while. And I literally never went back.
Because I wonder if she just always lives, and it just the playoff is like you didn't do it. No, because when you're done at the end, it gives a little like you did this, you did that. It's like you saved her, you didn't save her. I was like, oh my god, she could have jumped. Shit. I really like the game. I don't know why I jumped off it in the beginning. Maybe because it was episodic in the beginning and I just kind of fell off. Because I don't like the way that games do like episodic releases stuff.
Yeah.
Games don't really do it anymore, but I don't care for that kind of.
That was a fad in like the middle 2010s.
Yeah, it was for all these kind of games like Walking Dead and all that kind of
Telltale stuff.
Yeah. So, I'm more into it now because I could just keep going, and the episodes are short enough that you can get through one in like a sitting, and then do one the next sitting, and then the one the next. But I really, it's parts of the game can be a little boring, but the story is very good. And like I was invested in trying to talk her off of that ledge because I really did not want her to jump.
Yeah. No.
So the same. I've been playing through. It's good. I want to do it because I feel like I want to play like the rest of them.
Yeah.
I just even get through because that new one just came out, which I heard wasn't great.
Colors or something?
No, that's the other one. This one is Max is back.
That's right. They brought that character back. Yeah. Right.
Okay. So I want to see how that goes. But I like the game a lot in terms of like how it's built and everything, and like they do a really good job of making you actually give a shit about the characters. Like the one guy, the one other shitty like guy you go to school with. Fuck that guy. Every bad decision I can make that screws that kid over, I'll make it. And it's going to come back to haunt me. That's fine. But fuck that guy. I'll write about every time. But yeah, that's kind of it. The other random crap here and there, but that's the three big ones.
We're in the weird part of the year. I think the only like real major releases come out so far is Kingdom Come 2. So
yeah, and I've got a couple things. I've got a couple things within like the next couple weeks. Like,
I have Avowed, and then I don't like other than like I think you and I both have the Suikoden
I have that. I have DOAs in March.
Yeah, we both have
baseballs
that too.
in March. March is pretty stacked for me in terms of like random stuff that's all coming at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, right now it's just kind of finding stuff to kill time and to keep my trophy stuff up until I get to the stuff that comes out that I actually want to play.
Yeah.
How about you, Matt?
Not much of shit. I just been running some more Dying Light 2. So I really do like the game, but I will say like the boss fights that are in that game are such a pain in the ass to do because you have to have like the right equipment or you just can't get past it, or you have to find like a glitch in the fight to get to like do. But
yeah,
I'm stuck at this one point where I'm on a roof with one of these big beastie looking dudes, and I don't have anything that can like essentially beat him quickly, so I have to like jump off of the part of the roof that I'm hiding out on and like attack him like once or twice and then climb back up on that. But the downfall is like he's got such a powerful hit that he can knock me off the roof.
The roof. Okay.
And that's like the absolute worst. So that's what I'm running into right now. And then I jumped on some Ready or Not because I just decided to try and give that one another opportunity, and found out that on the PC it is now fully compatible with your Xbox controller. And so that was exciting. And so I started playing.
Now you'll jump into it more.
Yeah, now I'll jump into it more because, I don't have to use the keypad or the keyboard and my mouse because I am trash at that. Absolute garbage. So yeah, I ran through a little bit of that, and I'm gonna try and play through more because in order to unlock the DLC I bought, you have to get through the other like the regular campaign missions. And there's only like 3 of those campaign missions, and then there's like 3 of the DLCs, of course.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try and run through both of that.
The game's mostly structured, I think, around playing cooperatively, right?
Yeah, because I mean, you essentially have like 4 or 5 teammates that run with you in each mission, and you have to essentially take care of them. Like if they get shot, you have to like heal them or sit them out the next mission so they rest up, or if they're going through like emotional trauma, you have to like send them to the therapist and all kinds of stuff. It's an interesting thing because essentially if you don't take care of them, they just quit.
Oh, and then they actually just quit like the force or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, they quit the force, and then like after, I think like I want to say the first 2 missions I played through, everybody quit on me because I didn't know like exactly what to do with that, so I didn't really worry about it. And then the next mission I ran through, I had a whole batch of new people, but then they quit on me. And then I was like left with like one other person to do a mission on, and I was like, "Well, this ain't gonna work because that's not gonna do well." I mean, like the computer doesn't really do too much unless you're like ordering them what to do and stuff like that. But it's a really solid game, so I'm gonna try and jump back into it now that it's controller compatible. So that's it. That's me in a nutshell.
Well, I think at some point you would have, and you probably didn't have growing up like a point where you were only playing PC games for a while.
Oh no, man!
I had that. So.
I did not have that. So like when I got my first PC, I think I don't even remember what year it was, but I remember the game we had was Batman.
Okay.
And like we did not have it long before it crashed on us. Like I think my dad bought it from somebody else, and we used it for a little while. But like my dad was my dad worked with computers, but he was not like big into them. So I didn't really get big into them until like I got older.
Yeah.
So I mean I really didn't do much of anything. So like I took keyboard class and I had to like fake out my teacher by putting your fingers on the keyboard in the positions that they asked you to.
I see, yeah.
But then when she would walk away, I would like
doing that.
one finger type the shit out of anything she sent me. So like I made it past keyboard class, but if you asked me to play a video game, nope, no, I just won't do it.
I had the unfortunate thing too. Like I had growing up, like we didn't have a family computer until late, like not even in the 90s. We never had a family computer in the 90s. The first one we had was a really shitty, like mid 90s computer in like the year 2001 maybe. And then we ended up buying back in the day, because this would have been the popular thing that people would have done. We bought a Dell. So it's either bought a Dell or a Gateway at that point.
Yeah, I had an E-machine.
E-machine, okay. And that's where I kind of really jumped in, and then I played a lot of like Unreal Tournament, and then that would have been like Half-Life 1 and all that kind of stuff. So I got into it that way. But the reason I got so good at typing is because in high school I had to take typing class 2 times. I take it as a freshman.
I know.
No,
right?
It wasn't even because of that. It's because I took it originally as a freshman when I lived in Michigan, and when I moved back to the state of Illinois, they did not have enough classes for me to take because I already fulfilled what I would have needed to do to graduate my senior year. So they had to just stick me in whatever. And one of them was like, well, we can stick you in a typing class, because I was like, that's going to be stupid.
Yeah.
Like, and it literally was like, I'd get the assignment every day, and I'd be done in 5 minutes, and I just sit there, surf the web. You know, so like that is why I became the way I did at typing. So
yeah.
But I technically had to take the class twice, and it was a joke. So
yeah, I've tried my hardest to like do your fingers right on the keyboard, and I practiced before, but man, I just do not have that.
No, I get that, but I was, like I said, for me too, it was having, because there was a 2-year period where like I pretty much exclusively played everything on PC.
Yeah,
because of that, and then I kind of came back at the end of the PS2, GameCube, Xbox generation, and then really dive back in with the 360. So
yeah, that makes sense.
But that 2-year period, I mean, I was to the point where like I was in a clan for Unreal Tournament, like playing with people from I'm sure I remember the clan name was like they were called the Kentucky Rookies, and I was the only person in that clan that wasn't from Kentucky. Think about that. And we would that was back when they would use TeamSpeak, pre-Discord days. So but yeah, it's that I think not having that experience, I would be the way that you are. Like I would not want to play anything keyboard and mouse. But the other thing that got me into it too, right before we got that computer, was I had a Dreamcast, and then I got the keyboard and mouse and would go online with the Dreamcast. And obviously, I mean, when I got PSO, I played a lot of PSO, but before that, that's how I originally played Quake 3 Arena, was on Dreamcast with a keyboard and mouse. And the thing was, nobody played with a keyboard and mouse that game, so you could just dominate.
Yeah, I was blessed to never have that as the option. So I mean, for me, like I said, I mean, I look at games now on Steam when I'm buying them, and if they're not controller compatible, I won't buy them.
Out.
Nope. I'm like, I don't even want to mess with it. Like, even if it looks good, I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Not doing it to myself.
Different time.
Yeah. But good stuff.
We could jump into news. We got breaking news at the top of the hour as we're recording. The PlayStation Network is down. And has been down for I think like 4 or 5 hours now.
What time is it? Yeah,
so about at the time I was recording, it's about 9 where we are. Yeah. So I'm sure I'm sure it's not going to take that long, and it'll be up, by tomorrow.
Hey, man, they finally just responded saying, we are aware some users might be currently experiencing issues with PSN. So even they aren't it's everyone and it's every service. Like the entire thing.
We ever
is
have
down.
Another 2011 level blackout?
That would be impossible because the system could not take over a month being offline.
That was a different era too, where in that era it was free for PlayStation.
Well, there's that.
And they didn't have the infrastructure they do now.
No, they could not come back from that.
No.
That would be a colossal nightmare for this system.
It would be a colossal nightmare because now it's like if you don't sign off or like put your system into offline mode, a lot of the games you have installed aren't going to be playable.
Yeah.
You can't obviously most everything is online now.
Everything needs to check something or look for this or look for that. It's everything.
It's not like it was 10 years ago.
In an age where they're pushing you to try to get as many things digital and pre-order digital games and all this stuff, it cannot sustain being down for anywhere.
That was 6 weeks.
Anywhere even close to that. It would. I think the most they could get away with before it becomes really bad. It's already bad.
Couple days.
A day and a half, I would say at the most.
Yeah.
Okay. But because it's already bad. Think about that. It's Friday night.
Yeah, that's the worst part. It's literally Friday night, like the night that
get home from work.
Everybody
get home.
Kids are getting home from school.
Can't play a damn thing. Like you cannot play anything.
You can't play Fortnite.
Call of Duty's down.
His V-Bucks. Yeah.
This is garbage, man. What am I gonna do with my night?
It's just like anything. The most popular things on their entire system are currently down. Marvel Rivals,
maybe this is Microsoft's plan.
This was it.
People come back. There you go. They took one down.
They should tweet out our service is up. And so is Game Pass.
I'm honestly surprised they haven't because they usually like to do snarky things that sometimes on Twitter. Like, oh, we haven't had an outage in such and such many days or something like that. But like I said, I would be shocked if it's not up by the end of tonight, if not early morning hours. So, but it is. Yeah. It's been a while since we've had an outage, I think, of either of these services.
Of this level. Like this is completely down. Like if you go to their official status.playstation.com, it says some services are experiencing issues, and then everything has a red dot next to it.
Oh, okay.
It's not some. Bad. That means all, and it's for everything.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's real bad.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. But I would be shocked if next time we record it's like PlayStation Network's still down.
That would be
some wild shit.
That would be very
interesting 2025.
Yeah.
I'm tired of talking about Xbox.
It just keeps happening, man.
Phil Spencer, he was on a couple prominent Xbox podcasts in the last couple weeks. And in the couple podcasts that he was on, he has pretty much doubled down, just like ripping the Band-Aid off and telling people like everything is going to go everywhere eventually. And that's just kind of their strategy moving forward, while also, still committing to making new hardware. So, which, like I said, I think their biggest shot now, and we've talked about it before, but like, it's important for them to still have a primary box you put on our TV, but I think they really need to go all in on that handheld in this next generation.
Agreed.
So, with it being said,
but it seems like they're trying to double down and they want to have it both ways. And
it does seem like that, and
they're not going to have it both ways. It's just not going to work.
I still also think that this is just Phil being a figurehead of the Xbox division for the guy above him. A lot of times.
It definitely seems
it really feels like that guy stepped in and was like, all right, we bought this. We need to now be a publisher.
And you and I, we kind of talked about it, between ourselves the past week or so. But man, the Phil era has really fucking crashed and burned.
It has burned really fast.
Where it's just... You're talking about the Don Matrix stuff. He tanked his career at the jump.
He did it all within
he speed ran it. Yeah, he speed ran it. And then Phil took over, and it really seemed like things were different. Like, we're bringing the games. I got fucking Phantasy Star Online over here and all this stuff, and it's just like, nothing's working. It's all getting worse.
Yeah. I think he did a really good job at turning the ship around for the Xbox One era.
Yeah.
Because it started really bad. And then I think it's just been since we've gotten to the end of that generation, like obviously like creating Game Pass and stuff, that was a big deal. But then it just became the over-promising and under-delivering.
Do you remember like
games.
E3s would always be like, we've got 46 games to show you. And it's all about the games and where the gamers play. And then by the end of the year, it's like maybe 6.
Maybe 6 of the
maybe
46
6 of them
you played.
That came out that were any good, and some of them got delayed or pushed back or canceled. Or
we're still waiting for Fable.
Yeah.
Still waiting for, you know. Like,
yeah, it's just, or they show you, check out Scalebound and this rocking trailer with these Beats headphones. That game's, we got rid of that. That's gone. You know, Killer Instinct. It's but it's like an episodic fighting game. Yeah, it's good, but it's not what you want it to be.
People wanted it to be.
Yeah. And it's just like, it just seemed like it was misfire after misfire and overpromise, underdeliver, over and over again.
Or you'd get a game that like they would announce and you think it looks cool. Like I think of something like Recore, and then it comes out. It's like, it's okay.
It's fine.
Like it's not great, but it's
not changing
terrible.
the world. It's never going to get a sequel. It's just misfire after misfire. And now we're at the point where it's like, you're clearly, I don't want to say giving up because that's not the right word, but you're clearly accepting your place, maybe is what it is.
I think what it is they've accepted that they are essentially becoming a Sega that still produces a box that would very much like to keep you in their ecosystem.
Right.
But they are also,
but if they can't,
incredibly comfortable with you playing it elsewhere.
Yeah, but if we can't keep you on our box, at least we can make money off of releasing these games in other systems.
They're still going to get money from you. So, and just to ride off of that, Microsoft was the top game publisher in December, thanks to Indiana Jones, and Call of Duty, which is on PlayStation. So, not shocking there. And to pigtail off that, since the last time we recorded, and I know this is, at some point you knew the Band-Aid was going to be ripped off on one of the core
one of the three had to fall. Yes.
Well, one of them was going to have to fall. To be fair, I think this was probably the easiest one for people to fall.
Yeah.
Forza Horizon 5 will officially be coming to the PlayStation 5 this spring. I don't have a date. No, I think it's a fantastic thing because it'll bring more players to it. They're not going to turn off any of those servers. They already said it's going to be cross-play.
Right.
I don't look at it as a bad thing, but
no, it's not.
There are people that are upset it's one of the core, but I think if I had to choose which one to go first, this is the one.
It's just the first domino, though. Like you can't pretend at this point that this doesn't mean that Gears and Halo are next.
I don't think they're next, but they're coming.
No, but I'm not saying like immediately next. I'm saying like if Forza falls, so falls Halo and Gears. Like they're coming.
Yeah.
And it's whenever this Master Chief thing gets like confirmed, even though it's already like mostly confirmed.
I think they save something like Master Chief or a Gears announcement for an E3 type thing.
But wouldn't you like? Doesn't it make the most sense right now to save Master Chief for like the Switch 2 launch?
And then see that's
because it's been leaked that it's probably going to be on that too, which it should.
That's why I'm thinking
that's
for Master Chief.
That's a killer launch title.
That shows up at the Switch 2 event in April.
That would be incredible.
Just here's Master Chief,
and here's some games from our partners, and then Microsoft shows off Forza, Master Chief, and something else.
And I think then you get your press release later in the day that specifically says like, "Hey, it's coming to PS5 as well."
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't think they wouldn't say it during a Nintendo show, but
no, that wouldn't make any sense. But
yeah, it's all coming, and it's. We've talked about it the last time and times before. It's not a bad thing anymore. It is what it is.
It is what it is. I mean, I champion specifically Halo just because this is going to bring more people to those servers. It's going to keep that game going even longer.
Didn't the Forza announcement immediately pump Forza to like the top of the PlayStation charts?
Forza is number one on the PSN. I mean, if PSN was up, I could certainly tell you.
Sea of Thieves was at one point.
Sea of Thieves was number one for a while. But yeah, right now, in terms of like digital pre-orders, I believe Forza 5 is number one.
Halo Master Chief Collection would skyrocket to number one, and it would stay there for weeks. There would be nothing to challenge it for a while. And if you're Microsoft, that's $70 a pop for a game we released how many years ago?
That's the important thing to note there. Like, they could totally get away with charging $70 for any of these games.
Yeah, well, that Master Chief Collection is what, 6 games in one at this point?
Yeah, like technically it should just be called the Halo Collection, but
right.
It is everything up to the only thing it doesn't have now would be 5, but
or Infinite, but yeah,
yeah, or Infinite,
but even still, like that would skyrocket to number 1. It wouldn't even be close for weeks.
No. Or I would say the same thing will happen if it's a Gears collection.
Yeah.
Or Gears.
The only thing that would beat out Gears would be if Halo hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
Halo will be number 1.
Well, I think, like I said last time too, like if you think about it now, there isn't anything like Halo on the PlayStation in terms of like a sci-fi shooter of that level, like because Killzone and
did you see the Resistance thing today?
Resistance, I was going to say.
Did you see that?
No.
Ted Price was, I guess he was on a podcast. I think it was like Kind of Funny or something. Right? Yeah, it was on Kind of Funny or something, and they asked him a questions like, "What's the one game you pitched that didn't make it or whatever?" He pitched Resistance 4 to Sony, and they said no.
Interesting.
Why?
I'm not surprised.
Why would you say no?
No, I mean, I'm not surprised that somebody pitched it.
Oh no, I guarantee it. And there was probably definitely more Killzone pitches and all that stuff, but like, why would they say no?
It's weird, but it also, I would wonder at what era it was pitched.
Even still, they haven't had a game like that in a decade.
No, and that's when you look at what their, I guess, portfolio has become now, it's just third-person story-driven.
Yeah, and you know what? Games. I bet you the pitch for Resistance 4 was, okay, so it's a single-player story, and then that guy checked out. No thanks.
Yeah.
Unless it's Uncharted, or we don't want it, kind of a thing. So. Even then, Uncharted, they forced multiplayer in towards the end.
Wasn't there a multiplayer mode in Uncharted 4?
Yeah, it was okay. Mm-hmm. It was like the Last of Us one. It's okay. Yeah, but like Forza's going to be great. Like, did they say if it's going to be on Switch, or are they not saying that yet?
They have not said anything yet.
Okay. You think they're waiting for the release for like the actual announcement of it?
They're waiting to announce any of those for that event, because I guarantee you Microsoft's publishing arm has something at that event, because it's going to come up with a logo, and it's either I would say Horizon's probably one of them, and I think Master Chief easily could be another one. So. Without question, but we won't know until April 2nd. We do know, I didn't put it in the news, but they actually put out the time. Even though it's 2 months away. It's like, for us, I think it's 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central. So
interesting.
They're just dropping that thing real early that day, but that's fine. I didn't put that in the news.
It's going to be a lot of controllers snapping onto that thing.
I think that'll work better.
I know, but I'm just saying that's what most of that thing's going to be, is like,
click. They want
click,
that.
Click.
I know. That was what they did with the first one. So, I think you threw this in here, so I'll let you carry the MLB.
Oh, this is just my yearly MLB gripe session where, so they announced 25. It's got 3 cover athletes instead of 1. Fine, whatever. The most important part of the announcement was when it was announced for PS5, Series X, and Switch. No PS4, no series. Like, last gen is dead. Finally, I've been asking for this for years. And then they put out the gameplay trailer, and oh boy, it just looks fucking identical. Like, the whole point of this was we were supposed to dump last gen to take a step forward. But so far, it does not look like it.
Do you think that's going to be more in line for next year's?
I would have to pray to God at this point that that's true, because otherwise I don't understand what's happening anymore. Well, so people are taking it where, they announced it for Switch. That doesn't mean anything, because they're going to take last year's game from Switch and copy paste it and change the players and the numbers.
It's just a roster update.
It's a roster update. They've done that in the past with like FIFA and other stuff. But the whole point of this it was like to dump PS4, and we were going to go to PS5, and everything was going to be updated and fixed. And like, so far, it doesn't look like it. And then, of course, they make the decision to no more collector's edition this year. So now, this is the second time they missed a collector's edition in the past like decade. And it's a weird one too, because this is the 20th anniversary of the show. But,
is it really?
Yeah. But at this point, it really just kind of seems like they are content with being the only player in the game, and who the fuck cares anymore? How can we monetize everything even more?
It would be nice to see something else come back to compete with it, but it's not going to happen.
MVP could. Look at this. College football was the second best-selling game of the year last year.
Thank God.
And that had been gone for a decade.
That beat out Madden.
Yes.
Oh, that would have been over Madden.
Crushed it. There is room for this kind of stuff. Like I'm telling you, man, if EA put the resources into making MVP baseball come back, the people who are slowly getting pissed off of the show every year
probably
would
check that
change. You would, at the very least, you would do both. But there are plenty of people who would change over. I guarantee it. Because I'm on the Reddits and I'm in the community of this thing, and we're pissed. Does that mean I'm buying it again? Of course I'm fucking buying it again. But it's finally like this was supposed to be the time, right? When things change. Yeah. And it's not. And we've got a couple more weeks before it actually comes out, but I'm not holding my breath.
Well, it is what it is. I think we briefly talked about it because they kind of showed it in that one video, but some patents have leaked that confirms like the Joy-Cons for the Nintendo Switch 2 do have like a mouse functionality. Which like I said, they kind of briefly showed it in that trailer. It's interesting,
but I don't know what that means for it really.
I'm sure on April 2nd they'll be more than happy to tell you.
Do you think it has ice cubes inside of it?
I hope so.
Is there 1-2 Switch 2?
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
But you got to buy it. Just like the first, still, how much more successful would that game have been if it was just a pack-in for the Switch?
More people would have played it for sure.
More people would have played it.
It was just too expensive. Remember when we were trying to get people to reserve games for that system? It was Zelda and then nothing. And 1-2 Switch was the game you could kind of talk people into.
I feel like after the thing came out, there was a racing game that I think I can't remember which one because there's
Fast RMX was like a digital thing, which was good,
which I played a lot of.
Yeah, it was a cool
F-Zero.
There
was another one that was like Red Out or something. Maybe it was called.
Oh yes,
I feel like we sold some of that too.
There was that. GameStop tried to make us pimp Has-Been Heroes.
Well, that was because they published that.
Because we published it. Bomberman, but it was bad.
Bomberman was not Super Bomberman R. That wasn't good.
It was not good. There was one other game too.
There's one other thing too, yeah. But
I don't know.
Most people.
The Switch launch, most console launches are terrible. The Switch launch was terrible. It had Zelda. That was it. It was bad otherwise.
And you had to be really in for Zelda to be excited.
And even then, I bought it and didn't care for it. So.
Yeah, I don't think you played more than a couple hours of Zelda.
I tried.
I'm good here.
I tried really hard. I could not. But, the Switch launch was it was bad for a while.
It was. And then it became the, people were still trying to get it for months after. And other games slowly came out. But then, by the time we hit the fall, we hit Odyssey. So
that was what really okay, it's go time for the Switch.
And Odyssey was great. So
an incredibly good Mario
game that hopefully
it's just
my
fun.
Fingers are crossed for an Odyssey 2.
I think that's got to be in the cards. If they're smart, Odyssey 2 is next.
I would be really hyped if Odyssey 2 was a fall 2025 game. That would be awesome.
It doesn't have to be a launch title. It just has to be out within the first year, like they did last time.
I could do that.
So. But yeah, we'll see. We'll find out more on April 2nd. But I'm curious to see what the mouse functionality is, what it does. So
yeah, I wonder what it's for.
I wonder what it's for. What will they utilize for it? Grand Theft Auto 6. Take-Two is insisting it's still ready to go for fall 2025, and they feel really good about it. I think that's Take-Two talking. I don't think that's Rockstar talking.
Well, think about
say that.
Game companies have never lied to you about release dates.
No, never at all.
So.
You totally do not have a Red Dead Redemption shirt that has the wrong release date on it.
No, every game that they've done has been delayed in some form.
Even thinking back to Vice City and San Andreas, like, even those games were delayed.
LA Noire was delayed.
Like, it's just LA Noire was delayed by a month. Red Dead was delayed by a month. I don't remember if Red Dead 2 was delayed by a month. GTA 4 was definitely delayed.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. It's
GTA 5 was delayed.
Thing. You can tell me it comes out this year. Fine. I don't believe it. It very well could.
My money's still on spring 2026. So, but still, it's coming. I'd like to see more. I'd love to see another trailer for it that shows a little bit more of that game. So,
well, especially since the first one really, now that you watch it again and you think about it, really didn't show.
It did show a lot. It just gave me more questions of like, man, if this game really has again all those like social media like systems in it, how fucking insane is this game?
Too much.
So it's gonna be too much. I put this in here more as a chuckle, but Resident Evil Reverse. Remember, Reverse was like the crappy.
Isn't that 8-pack in?
It was the pack-in digital like multiplayer game for 8 that had different characters. Nobody played it. Like, let's be fair.
I think I watched some clips of some people play it, and I was just
the first 2 weeks.
Terrible.
You had like your Resident Evil streamer influencers play it and like tried to pretend it's good. And then that ended, and they were like, "Nah, this game actually is bad."
Wasn't that the one? Was that the one where there's like a mastermind and the rest of you are playing against them, or was that the other one?
No, that was the other one that was attached to Resident Evil 3 remake.
Okay.
So this was the Resident Evil 8 one, but it's called Reverse. You can play as characters throughout all the Resident Evils. It's shutting down its servers. Nobody's surprised, but I'm surprised it was still playable. To be fair,
yeah,
like. I have not seen anybody even speak of it for a long time. So, but they've also marked that they've reached a new turning point with the franchise. So it'll be interesting to see. Like, we just had that Capcom event. I didn't really put it in here, but they did. The Capcom event mostly was about Monster Hunter.
Makes sense.
They did show off. I guess the important thing is they did show off more of Onimusha.
Yeah, they did.
But Onimusha is not out until I would assume that game's not out till next year. But they did announce that they are remastering Onimusha 2, which will be out this fall.
I'll get that.
And that's cool. It made me go, yeah, I should probably replay the first Onimusha.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did they only announce that for PS4?
No, they announced it for PS4, like older platforms. So it's Switch, PS4, and I think Xbox One, but it'll play on the new system.
I know, but that's still weird.
It's weird, but also like it's not a demanding game. So
yeah.
One that I've questioned for a while, how we haven't gotten a release date for it. Well, they've waited too long and the date leaked. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. So the remake of Snake Eater, the August 28th release date has leaked thanks to the PlayStation Store. And it, honestly, like, I fully believe this is probably the date for this game.
Yeah, that seems right.
So, it seems like they waited too long to announce a release date. I mean, we just talked about that collector's edition. I don't think we put it in here, but they have that new collector's edition up. It's like $200.
Yeah.
That I don't know. You sent it to me. I said, nah, I'm good.
No. Yeah.
I'll just play the game. But August 20th, that's a good time to put it out. So, and I believe it. So,
well, real quick, I don't know if you guys heard, but that Multiverse game is shutting down.
Yeah, I put that in here. That's actually a good one. Multiverse is shutting down May 31st. And
it's weird though, because like, so they're shutting it down
once, and then they brought it back.
Yeah, but you can still access all, like, if you bought anything or like any packs or any people.
So it just becomes an offline game?
Yeah, it just becomes an offline game at that point.
Interesting.
Guess it couldn't find a way for it to keep making money.
They probably they don't want to pay for the servers.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't that great anyways. I mean, you know, it was fun
that was
for the characters.
Was just basically like a Smash Brothers clone with Warner Brothers characters.
It was exactly Smash Brothers clone, just with Warner Brothers characters.
Play it,
and it was free, but it just had like rotating characters unless you bought them. I think is what it was.
Yeah.
But they must have just reached a point where potential income did not match potential cost, and they said fuck it.
Yeah.
Well, Warner Brothers Games is a shit show right now anyway.
We're gonna get to Warner Brothers in a minute here. So obviously I mentioned earlier, I'm excited. Next it's the 18th, so we got a week and a half yet to go. But Avowed is coming out. They did quietly announce that Avowed will be 60 frames on the Series X.
Weird.
But I mean, I said that a while ago when it got delayed. They're probably going to patch it to be able to be 60 frames because there's no reason it can't be. But that'll be hitting on the 18th. The other important thing to note that there is a physical edition of this game like I think you can only get like a collector's edition, or
I think it's like a deluxe edition of the game,
but it is digital only. There's no physical disc.
Yeah, it's $95. So, it's like $95.
It's $95. Yeah. So it just doesn't
confirming
make sense
that they are making no physical copies of this game.
Or if they are, they're just install discs like Starfield.
Right.
So, which, like I said, I recently watched. I don't remember the YouTuber. I recently watched a YouTuber who picked up a bunch of games from like Meyer cheap, and I think one of them was Starfield. But like I said, like I don't think that's really a win because it's just an install disc. So there's nothing on that disc. Let's talk about Warner Brothers.
Oh man.
Warner Brothers, I mean, obviously Rocksteady's in hard times right now since Suicide Squad absolutely failed. They have pretty much doubled down. It's all but confirmed now that they are working on a new single player Batman game. I would also suspect with that being announced, I still feel like they're going to do some sort of remaster or something, at least of the first game. They want to get that. They want to get that taste out of your mouth.
I don't know. You can buy that as part of a deal with all three of them, and it's frequently on sale for like $6.
It is.
I don't know if they're going to bother to remaster a game that's already been kind of redone.
Patch it.
Yeah.
So, but added to that as something that we've brought up several times on the podcast, the Wonder Woman game was mentioned as being in massive trouble.
Weird.
According to the rumors on it, it is over $100 million in the hole and has been rebooted.
Well, it had to have been rebooted by this point, because when did you say it was announced? 21?
It was announced in December of 2021, and as early as January of 2024, it sounds like it was rebooted into whatever its current form is.
Good Lord.
And it is it is dangerously close to being canceled. So, and I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm kind of surprised it hasn't been already. If it's close, it means it should be. Is probably the answer.
Like it doesn't make sense now, because now at this point we're past Wonder Woman 84. I feel like the hype for that character has died. There's no new Wonder Woman movie coming out right now.
I think the only any sense of hype for that character right now is people want to see who they're going to cast for this next
for the DC
for the line of movies, because she will get a movie. Like she has to get a movie. So
100%.
So the thing is who are we going to cast? I think that's the most anybody cares about Wonder Woman right now. This game is by all intents and purposes is dead.
And you're not going to bring back Gal Gadot because then it gets weird.
No, you can't. I told you before.
You want to cast somebody young.
I told you before that I gave you the perfect casting earlier, and it would be a little confusing. But if your boy can be Aquaman and Lobo, you can get the girl from Shazam to be Wonder Woman.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
She would be perfect. She's young enough. She looks like her. Just do it.
Well, I told you earlier today, I think that's the important thing when you think about the Superman movie is like we picked actors that are young that can play these roles for a while.
You want to get people
just in Superman, but Lois Lane and Lex Luthor.
You want to get people who are good for a 3-movie run, and these days a 3-movie run takes a decade because you've got the side stuff in between where you're going to cram in a Justice League and you're going to cram in, Justice
another
League
movie
Dark
where Superman pops up. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you're going to do that. So the goal should be to cast people who can be these people for 10 years.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, and that's another reason why I think she would be a good Wonder Woman cast. Like
she's younger.
Yeah. So that's what we need to do. And the thing is like, I wouldn't say she's unknown, but she's relatively unknown to like what people you could potentially cast.
I think that's important too. A lot of times when it comes to casting of these superheroes is like you don't need a big Academy Award winning known actor.
No.
You could do that and sometimes it turns out fine.
I think it's more fun to do that for like the villains because those are going to be one-offs.
I do too.
Of things. Yeah. So like Spider-Man is a perfect example of like you've got Tom Holland, who at the time is young, relatively unknown to American audiences.
Yeah.
And then you get Michael Keaton to play the bad guy.
Or
that's a better way to do
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
and those were big draws for those movies.
Yeah, exactly. And they all worked out. But
yes.
The DCU, like we've talked about it, like I'm excited for Superman, but I got to see how this goes.
I will tell you what my confidence level is after I've seen Superman. If I'm confident this thing is going to be okay going forward, or if we're going to crash and burn really fast. And I don't know. So Superman will be the big tell. So, with that being said, hell has frozen over because Square Enix has actually had a game beat their lofty sales goals, and that game is Dragon Quest III Remake.
What? And remember, nothing has ever beaten their lofty sales goals.
Nothing ever beats Square Enix's sales goals.
Final Fantasy games always never close. Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider.
God, we might as well put the shotgun to our temple. Like, nothing ever gets close. But Dragon Quest III did.
It did. And which is great for that series, too.
I was talking to a friend of mine, too, and he said, I'm hoping that this means that DQX, like, offline will finally get translated into English and stuff. I told him, I said, even though this one did it, I think you've got to get one more. I think if the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 thing can outsell expectations, whatever that is, then I think it proves there's a market. And then I think,
and I also think that it sets eyes a little bit higher on Dragon Quest 12, whenever that is.
God, that still seems like it could be 5 years away at this point.
It seems like it could be, but it's also the kind of thing where, like, we could get to E3 time this year and they're ready to show it.
It could be.
It's been long enough.
All we've seen so far is that logo.
It's the only thing we've seen, which is fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, show it when you're ready, but I feel like that could be at any time. Like, we have no idea, and they're not going to show it until they're ready.
No.
So,
but it's good. I'm happy to see that a game like Dragon Quest is getting people are buying it.
No, I'm glad to, and that's the important thing here is, like, if you want to see more, like, even not talking about new entries like 12, if you want to see more of maybe these remasters, maybe they go further than 1, 2, and 3.
What if they did a 7 like remaster, like the PlayStation one? That'd be great.
It would be great. So, but that's good. It was more shocking for me that it was Square Enix.
I think everyone reporting on that story was like, "Can you believe this?
I can't believe it.
I can't believe this."
I don't remember ever looking at a Square Enix thing in the last decade and seeing them actually, like, happy.
Their most popular franchise didn't even do it.
Yeah. So impressive. The final news article I threw in here just because I saw a little blurb about it, but apparently the Entertainment Software Association, known as the ESA, has announced a new, like, spiritual successor they're trying to kick off that will be like E3. It is called Icon, but it has 2 eyes in the front of it, which I think is stupid. But it is an event that will aim to connect visionaries through leaders and innovators from across industries to harness the power of interactive entertainment. The only reason I put this in here is that it is important to note that Microsoft and specifically Xbox is going to be a big part of it. So the first like event is going to be April 27th through the 30th of 2026. So I don't know if it's exactly going to be like E3. It sounds like it's going to encompass movies and other forms of entertainment as well. But it'll be interesting to see what that is.
I guess so. Do we need this stuff anymore?
No, but
not really.
To me, I wonder if it's a kind of thing where, like, hey, it's another event that Microsoft is at.
Right.
Or they go, hey, this is our other big show of the year. We're just going to do it here.
That's possible.
So,
because I can already tell you, like, Sony and Nintendo aren't signing up for this.
Sony, like, ever since Nintendo left E3, and because they were the first ones that left
just started doing directs, yeah.
And then everybody kind of followed that. Microsoft was the only one that stuck around. So, I don't see either of those companies signing up for this. If anything, they'll be like, oh, we'll do an event that week, but it won't be associated with it. So, still interesting to see. But that concludes the news. We can kick over into movies because we don't have any GameStop dumbass things of the week.
Nothing. So, nothing out of the ordinary for being a dumbass is other than closing a whole bunch of stores and all that other shit.
Yeah.
I will tell you. I'll give you a dumbass move of the week, and this because this affects me directly. Back in December, I ordered something for Christmas for someone, but I also did a pre-order for 2 like Spider-Man figures at the same time, like the retro card ones, and it was for like Chameleon and Kate, who I like both those characters. And I have a whole bunch of those, so I'm like, all right, I'll just do it all at once. Did the whole order, didn't even think about it. Those characters are due to come out, I think, tomorrow, maybe, or Monday or whatever. I keep getting email. I got an email last week that said your payment is invalid. Your payment type is invalid. I said, okay. Went and looked at it. It was PayPal that I originally did. And I thought, all right, maybe it got fucked up because it was like a pre-order and they took that money, but they didn't take. All right, fine. Here's my card number. Put my card number in. Said, okay, great. Got an email next day. Your payment thing is not valid. Okay. So I emailed support and I said, look, this thing's already said to me that it's invalid. I fixed it. Can you just confirm? And also because I wanted to confirm because when I fixed it, it said I still owed the full amount. And I was like, there's no way I owe the full amount. I only owe for the part that didn't ship. So they confirmed they only owe that much and then said that it looks like the payment on file is fine. Okay, fine. Next day, your payment type is invalid. Oh, my God. Went fix it again, just in case. Shot off another email and said, like, I keep getting this email. I don't know what's going on. The guy's like, the overseas support, which is obvious because this is not English that I'm getting back, or it's very broken, said something along the lines of like, oh, make sure you enter the card number correctly. I said, I did. I did it twice. I'm not an idiot. So I did it again, fixed it this morning. Your payment type was like, you know what, fuck it. If it doesn't go through, it doesn't go through. I don't fucking care anymore. I'm not going to bother trying to figure this out. I'll buy the thing somewhere else. But it's like, a company that's been around.
Exclusive to there?
No, they're just Marvel figures. But, a company that's been around for literal decades, has had a web presence for decades, can't figure out how to split an order when you ordered something.
Probably because they fired those people.
I guarantee it.
It's got to be.
The website's always been broken. Like, I don't know if it ever happened on your account, but like I still have on my account, if you look at it, because my account is 15 years old at this point.
Yeah.
Still has old pre-orders on it.
I still have old pre-orders and like still
question mark items in old orders and stuff. Like, it's
really weird.
Your history on that site is completely busted. Yeah, and it's because it's been redone and reworked, and they just never fixed it. But
they don't care to.
They don't. And if you know what, man, if you don't charge me and I don't get the figures, I fucking don't care anymore. I just don't. I'm done using them anyway. I've been pre-ordering all my stuff from the Video Games Plus place in Canada because the conversion rate is great. There's as long as you hit the shipping thing, it's fine.
That one's good, and the other
no tax.
P&P
Games is good too. I've gotten random shit from them too. Matt, I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if I sent it to you or not, but there was a physical version of that Power Rangers game now.
Oh, did it come out?
It's coming, but I ordered it.
You can order it. Yeah, I think you and I ordered it.
I ordered there's a collector's one, which has a steelbook, which is like a Green Ranger case, and it's only like $45.
Well, that's not bad.
Kyle's was like,
and that's after conversion too.
Yeah, that's like
I just did the regular one.
Yeah, but like we did it together and got free shipping and stuff. But like, I'm glad I didn't buy that game digitally off jump, and that's now I get a physical copy with a hard case. Yeah. Like, it's great.
Yeah, my friend, one of my really good friends, was telling me about them releasing a physical because he's a big Power Rangers fan too.
Yeah.
And he was like, I want to buy that game, but I know they're doing a physical copy, so I'm not going to buy it until they drop that. So he's supposed to actually be buying a copy for me because my youngest, he thinks he would like
I'll send you the link, but this is where he should get it from.
Okay, send me the link.
Yeah, because this is where I got it from, and that's where I'm getting Kyle and My's DOA.
What was the date on that for the Power
Rangers? May, I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was a little bit because DOA is March.
Yeah, that got moved. That got pushed back like 2 weeks.
It got pushed back 2 weeks.
Whatever, I don't care. But yeah, it's. I'm excited for this Power Rangers thing physical.
Yeah,
we can. But we can kick over to movies. I'll start with
May 30th.
Yeah, that's it.
May 30th.
Yeah.
I'll start with the bummer movie that I watched this week, which is a new release.
It
came out. Yeah. You're doing it correctly. It is The Wolfman. I was excited about this because The Wolfman is done by the same director that did the Invisible Man remake in 2020 with Elizabeth Moss, which is an awesome remake of The Invisible Man, like set in a modern era, and it makes sense. So with that preceding it, I thought that The Wolfman would be the same thing, which it does modernize it. But my biggest issue with the movie, outside of the fact that it's just kind of boring, which is insane when you're talking about a werewolf movie, is that they remove pretty much anything that you know of as werewolf lore from it. So there's no like in this version of it, there's no like becoming a werewolf and then like losing it when the full moon's gone or anything like that. It's just treated like a disease. So and I'll say, like, I enjoyed the beginning of the movie, the way it opened up, because it's like a father and son that are hunting, and they're in like the woods in I believe that it's in Oregon State, and they get kind of attacked by this creature, but they never show it in the beginning. I thought that like the opening was pretty effective, and I was like, okay, and I was kind of in on that aspect of it, and then it just unfortunately crumbles after that. Its twist is incredibly predictable. It's one of those, like, the minute the guy said why he had to go back to this to the cabin that he grew up as, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what's like where this story's gonna go. And the other problem I have with it is I kid you not, it's a 90-minute movie, so it's not long. It takes 30 of those 90 minutes are just him and his wife in a bedroom where she is trying to figure out what is going on as he like has his transformation into not a werewolf, but like I would say it looks like it's like a humanoid creature. There's little fur.
A man wolf, if you will.
It's not even a man wolf. Like there's no wolf. They took the wolf out of Wolfman in this movie.
Fur man.
There's no wolf here. He doesn't howl at the moon. They don't even really show
Hairy
the moon
boy.
in this movie. It's just really disappointing. We're like, I told my friend who, like my buddy and I, who went to the theater to see the last Wolfman movie, which was 15 years ago, the Benicio del Toro one.
I remember that.
That's a better movie than this.
I think I saw that one too.
And I don't think that one was that great at the time I saw it, but that at least stuck true to what the Wolfman is. This just, it treats it like a disease. So
wild.
Incredible bummer. I think I gave it a 4 out of 10. So the other movie I watched this week is a 90s movie that I missed as a kid. But you remember growing up in the 90s, there was the we'll use the term erotic thriller.
Yeah, there you go.
That really
Species.
It doesn't. Yeah, I was saying Species. It doesn't really exist on that level today. This movie, also, I will preface by saying, could probably not be made today at all.
Oh, probably not. Well,
no fucking way.
I don't know, man. Movies are kind of fucked these days too. But
I mean, I don't know. I guess in an era where something like Euphoria exists,
right?
I guess maybe. But the movie I'm talking about, because I'd never seen it, stars an actress I really liked at that time, which is Drew Barrymore. And it's one that just, I skipped it. I remember seeing it on the shelves. There are like 4 or 5 of these movies that came out because for whatever reason, even though this movie is a one and done story.
Well,
like it's over when the movie's over.
But you're talking like 90s erotic thrillers. Like that was a thing. There's a couple Species movies. Like, yeah.
They found a way to fucking continue this thing for 4 or 5 direct-to-video sequels. I'm talking about the movie called Poison Ivy. The other thing that's fun to note about this movie, and it completely just blew my mind when I started it. So, as I think I said last week, I'm in the process of rewatching Roseanne. I rewatch Roseanne like once a year. And so I literally had just come off of watching like 3 or 4 episodes of Roseanne in a row. And I start this movie. I'm like, all right, I'll watch this Poison Ivy movie. As the movie begins, the movie opens with like Drew Barrymore swinging on like a tree swing with someone else narrating. But the person narrating is the actress that plays Darlene on Roseanne. And I thought when I started the movie, I got some wires crossed or something. And I'm like, what did I do? Like, cause I'm sitting, I'm like, cause I had no idea this actress was in this movie. I just was confused for like a good 5 minutes at the opening of this movie until they showed her. Cause they don't show her for the first couple shots of this movie. And all of a sudden she shows up. I'm like, oh, I had no idea that this chick was in the movie. So the whole premise of this movie, which is absurd, so Drew Barrymore plays like I believe she's 17. She did some bad stuff as a teenager. So she's going to a private school where we'll just refer to her as Darlene, because I don't remember what her character name was in the movie, where Darlene is, and she becomes friends with Darlene. And they kind of have a friendship that like might turn into a relationship, but it's the 90s, so they don't want to go that far at that time. But then it gets twisted on its head because Drew Barrymore's character then decides to seduce her father. And so that's where it becomes like the steamy erotic thriller, right? But it has all those pitfalls of that movie. And it's also unironically funny because it is a 90s, like, the stuff that happens in this movie, you just have to laugh at some of the stuff for like, it wouldn't work like this. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to spoil the end, but like I said, when I tell you that it definitively is a movie that has an end, it has an end. And that's all you need to know. Like, they're like, if you were to sit down and logically think about making a sequel to this, you wouldn't make a sequel to it. So, it's worth a watch. Like I said, it's very much trapped in that 90s. Like, they don't make movies like this anymore, and I enjoyed it for that aspect. And I think it's well acted for the people. Like, the other thing that I'll say is funny to me and it's improbable is, like, we're talking about Drew Barrymore at like her peak, right?
Right.
And the father that she's seducing is Tom Skerritt. So that like, if you know the actor Tom Skerritt, that'll take you out of it right away. Because you're like, there's no fucking way that this girl would be seducing this guy, who is basically in the movie, he plays like a washed up, like, I don't know if he's a TV anchor. He does something on TV, but he's getting kind of ousted of it because of his age. So it's a weird movie. It's bizarre, but it totally fits that category of like weird 90s movies they would not make like that today. Like, at all. So, and no, I'm not going to watch the other 4 direct to DVD sequels.
Aw.
There's no way. I can't do it. So I don't even know if this is on any kind of streaming service. So I didn't look. It's one that I have. So, and then the last thing, I'll mention it now. We will talk about the other big trailer of the week when we get to emails, because we had somebody emailing about it. But the Jurassic World, what is it called? Jurassic World. I keep wanting to say Evolution, but I know it's not right. Rebirth.
Yeah.
Rebirth.
Yeah,
You're
Rebirth.
right. The Jurassic World Rebirth trailer dropped. And I'll preface this by saying I did not see the last movie, which I think was called Dominion. I saw World in the theater, and then
the second
we went to the drive-in to see the second one of those, because in the area I live in, and it's a nostalgia thing, because the original played at this drive-in, and that's how I saw it as a kid. We went to go see that one there, and it was a sold out. So like, that aspect of it was fun, but that movie is fucking garbage. And for that reason, I didn't watch Dominion.
Yeah, same thing.
I don't have any faith in this movie.
This trailer looks terrible.
It looks terrible. There's a shot of Scarlett Johansson like either descending or ascending like the side of a mountain.
Yeah.
And it's so poorly CG'd. That took me out of it. The premise of it, I think, is bad, because they're like, they have to go and get 3 different samples of 3 different dinosaurs to make some sort of serum. Like, it's like the most loose fucking premise you could come up with.
I hate how we keep coming up with bullshit reasons to go back to these bullshit islands that are all secret bullshit labs for the other island we went to in the first place. Like, why can we not come up with a storyline that doesn't involve having to go back to these fucking places and fuck around again?
Because we have to.
It's
ridiculous.
Also,
like, explain this, and again, I didn't see Dominion, but I thought the whole premise of that movie was
they started to clone people.
I was gonna say, at the end of the one before Dominion, didn't they release the dinosaurs? Where like, it actually became the term Jurassic World because they were getting out of the island and they were across the world, right?
I thought so, but I also thought that a big plot of that was like they were auctioning them off, but then it turns out like that one guy's granddaughter is a clone or some shit because of the dinosaur. I don't even remember because I was so blacked out during that movie.
So there was that part of it. The part of it that made me like want to walk out, but we were in the drive-in, so I couldn't. I guess drive out would be the term. Was when they were doing the auction, and the whole point of the auction was they were selling that one raptor. And they had a guy who was like, okay, he has a sniper rifle and it's just a laser pointer. So like, you're telling me that you're going to have a fucking guy go up to snipe someone, but instead of actually sniping him, he's going to shoot a laser that's going to then tell this raptor, hey, go kill that guy. A gun would be more fucking effective. Like, why would you do that? Like, I just said, like, how is this a thing that's in this movie? Like, And then the clone stuff happened right after that. It was like, this terrible fucking movie.
Thing is like, I thought World was fine. Like, it was a good, I thought the
movie was fine.
We went back to the island and we tried to make it a park again, and we shit the bed again. Okay, that's fine.
Again.
That's fine.
But we just keep finding dumbass reasons to go back to these places.
Yeah.
Maybe we should.
I have zero faith in
Well, and the thing is, too, it's like, we're just leaving all these fucking dinosaurs alive? Firebomb the island. Like, none of it makes any sense. These things
they need them for these shots or whatever.
That doesn't fucking make sense.
You know they're going to tie that into the clone shit, I guarantee you.
Maybe Scarlett Johansson is the clone grown up or something.
I would be disappointed if they don't.
That's why it's called Rebirth.
Oh my God. But like, we created these dinosaurs. They're killing machines. They've killed thousands of people. They are free amongst the world. The military would kill all of them. It wouldn't even be a question. We have helicopters and jets and napalm.
I got done and it just made me want to watch the original.
Yeah, it just made me
That's all it did.
I finished it and just went like, I am zero in on this movie.
I'm so out on what we're doing here. Yeah.
Terrible.
So, I don't know. You have any thoughts on it, man? Now that he and I have shit on it for 5 minutes.
I can't wait to see it.
Oh my God.
No, like, so I think for me, I'm not going to lie. I didn't like analyze the trailer as much as you guys have. I kind of like turned it on and I kind of just like was listening to what happened to it. Yeah. So I'll go back and rewatch it because now I have to see what you guys have pointed out. It doesn't make sense what we're doing. Not at all. I definitely agree with Dan. Why are we still letting these dinosaurs just chill out? Like, what are we doing? They're just hanging out. I think, and that's what threw me off in the last one was there's just dinosaurs hanging out, just like doing what, and I'm like, is this the new norm? Like,
there's
just
no
dinosaurs
way
hanging
the
out?
world as a whole would be okay with dinosaurs just fucking existing again.
It makes me think that maybe one of these nights, like a sad night, I should sit and watch Dominion just to see what it was.
So I feel like I need to go. I feel like I need to go through and rewatch everything just to kind of see where it all went wrong.
The only one that I haven't seen more than once of those original would be the third one.
Yeah,
I've seen the first one obviously the most. I've seen Lost World a couple times. I've seen Jurassic World a couple times. And I think that whatever the second one was, I only watched that one time and was like, I hate this. So, and I didn't watch Dominion for that reason. So, but I think now I'm like, maybe I should just watch Dominion to see how bad it is. But I told, because my girlfriend, she's a little more positive because I told her about the trailer. She's like, I want to see what you're talking about. She watched it. She's a little more positive on it. And I told her, I'm like, if you really want to see it, we'll go to the drive-in because at least the experience of that will be good. But
yeah, and I mean, honestly, I really like Scarlett Johansson, so I may just watch it just because she's in it. I'm not gonna lie about that.
I mean, I do too, but I don't know. Nothing here about the character she's playing drew me in more. Oddly, I don't know. We'll see what the movie turns out to be.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, if I don't go see it, I'm not going to be disappointed. Like, it's not going to be one of those movies where I'm like, oh my God, I really need to go see it.
We also live in the era of like, if you don't go see this movie in the first like 2 days, it's going to be out in 2 weeks.
Digitally. Yeah, exactly. It's not a big deal. So I mean, realistically, like I will attempt to watch it when it drops. I'm not sure how well it's going to be received, but I mean, you know,
how well it will be received, but I think it will do well just on name. And people like families and stuff will still go because it's still a name that draws crowds.
Yeah.
So like kids are always going to like dinosaurs. So
I love dinosaurs.
Even though I don't think that any of these movies have ever, like any of them since like maybe The Lost World have ever gotten to that level of like, we're kind of pushing that PG-13 rating where it's getting a little fucked up like the first two. So
yeah.
Like, especially Lost World at the end when that boat comes through and there's just like body parts on that boat.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of, for a PG-13 movie, that's kind of strong. So
yeah, it's a little much
at the time, but different era.
Yeah.
Dan, you've run through something.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it took forever to do this, but I'm very amped for what by all intents and purposes seems to be the last Mission Impossible movie that's coming out in May.
We'll go.
Love this franchise more than most other franchises. So I decided I'm just going to watch them all again to get caught up.
Yeah.
I've gotten through Fallout, which, again, fucking phenomenal movie. But it's really interesting to watch them all kind of in a row, starting like, one every couple days, starting from one, because one, I maintain that one is a very awesome movie because it is very much a spy thriller and like what's going on and who's behind what and all that stuff. And it's the kind of movie where you have to pay attention or you're gonna miss what the fuck is going on a lot.
Absolutely.
But I love that movie. That being said, Mission Impossible 2 sucks. If you go back to it, like, it's such a different movie, and they all kind of are early on like different movies, but 2 just is so out of left field. It becomes like an action John Woo stranglehold. It doesn't
Bane soundtrack.
Yeah, like it's an interesting plot, but doesn't work very well. It also says a lot that the first couple of movies, it's always a rogue agent that's always the bad guy. It's like, maybe we shouldn't hire all these people, but okay. But 3 is good because that's where it's not great, but it's good because that's where it kind of starts to find its place.
Yeah.
Where he marries his wife, and then she gets kidnapped, and Philip Seymour Hoffman is a great villain in that movie.
Great villain.
I forgot how he dies at the end of that, and it is brutal as fuck when he lifts him up and a truck runs him over.
Yeah.
That's like movie. 3 is like you're starting to go back, and then when you start getting into like Ghost Protocol,
I think were really
banger, and then that sets up the link between 5 and 6 and 7.
I would say Ghost Protocol would be like the Fast 5 of this franchise.
Pretty much, it's where it kicks it up to the next level and makes it a series of movies as opposed to just like an anthology kind of a thing.
Yes,
where like the end of Ghost Protocol teases Rogue Nation, which teases Fallout because that guy comes back. But Fallout, man. I mean, I'm going to watch Dead Reckoning again. Yeah, I think I still think it's better than Dead Reckoning, but
Dead Reckoning was good and it has a lot of good stunts, but I think Fallout beats it in terms of story. So. And
Henry Cavill is fucking incredible in the movie.
Bad guy in the movie.
Well, because like you really don't, if you don't know. You don't really see him as being the bad guy until the reveal. And you're like, oh shit, that does kind of make sense. But I was talking to we talk about it all the time. We send that GIF back and forth all the time of him like reloading his arms in the bathroom scene. Do you remember that in that bathroom scene, there's no dialogue?
No.
And it makes the scene so much better because it's always we all 3 of us know what's going to happen right now.
Yeah.
And they just beat the shit out of each other in that thing. And like the part where he like rips the pipe off the wall and he hooks him around the neck and flips him through that mirror. It's like that fight is crazy. And then like the helicopter stunt at the end where he's crashes into him, it's just wild.
But I also think that the train stunt in Dead Reckoning is really good too.
Now, I got to watch that again too, but I'm very excited for this last one in May. But from what I'm reading, like it definitely I think he even said it today. They're pretty much saying that because it's called Final Reckoning now, so they're gonna have to retcon. It's not called Dead Reckoning Part 1 anymore, which is fine. But it's called Final Reckoning, and they said the name of the movie is an important point of the movie. Yeah. So like it definitely seems like it's gonna be over. But I watched that trailer again yesterday, and it was just like, man, I'm fucking amped. It
looks great.
Yeah. I think that series too. Like we talk about Fast and Furious because you and I were always in on those. This movie, this series, Mission Impossible, holds itself together a little bit better than Fast and Furious does.
Well,
Fast and Furious decides to get when you go to space, it's kind of over.
Fast and Furious also has the problem of like we have to retcon now to pull things in to make them make sense.
Mm-hmm. Nobody's dead, but everybody's dead.
If you sit down and think about it, it's really fucking stupid. But at the same time, that's the point of why you're going to see these movies at this point.
I love the bullshit.
How ludicrous!
When that trailer came out,
to go to see it,
and Han fucking walked in, and everyone collectively said, "No way, I have to see it," because it's such bullshit in the history of that universe. And then like we talked about it with the last one, like John Cena dies. I didn't see him die. I didn't see him die.
they're gonna do a thing where like he flipped that car over and bounced out of it.
There was an ejector seat built in, and it was like a Batman bat cycle thing where it came out the back. He landed on
the car door, and slid down the mountain. Like it's gonna be something real dumb.
Do you think he shows up like at the immediate beginning of the last one, where like they're driving down the dam and they look over and he's sliding down the thing?
The only thing I hope for this, because they are billing this will be the last one.
It has to be.
Is I really hope that Jason Momoa's villain, it just stays a villain, and because Fast and Furious has this one problem where
someone to stay.
Every villain inevitably is like, well, you're okay, you're part of the family now, kind of a thing. I want him to just stay a villain.
I think with The Rock coming back,
so good.
I think with The Rock coming back, there's no need. Like we have The Rock and Statham, and John Cena's probably not dead. There's no reason to bring Momoa into the fold. Like we need to. Yeah. You could maybe bring in someone to work with him for the end of this thing, but we can't bring him into the fold.
He also was an excellent bad guy. He's so weird.
He's so weird. That scene with him and the dead dudes they're hanging out drinking. It's great.
Yeah, it's so great, but so weird.
Exactly what a movie of like that caliber needed to help carry the absurdity of everything else that's happening.
It does.
So I'm hoping it's the last one. I don't want to see it go, but it needs to be the last one. At least until we get to the part where like Brian and Dom's kid, Brian's kid and Dom's kid are old enough to
Tokyo Drift 2.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Then we'll call that Tokyo Drift 2 at that point. And I'm okay.
As long as it's got that song in it, that's all that matters.
They can, or a remix of it as long as it's the same intro. There you go.
Mm-hmm. But so Mission Impossible is pretty much the only thing I've really like gunned through.
I mean, that's 6 movies. So.
I got one more to go.
Isn't
the last one almost 3 hours?
I think so. It was long.
It's long. It's really long.
And it was one of those where like it was long, but I didn't feel it.
No, I told you I want the last one to be 6 hours long.
It was like we walked out. It was like it didn't feel that long.
No.
So it just it was very well.
There are very few movies where I say it, but like if Mission Impossible's like the last one, they were like it's 4 hours. It'd be like good.
It has intermission, but
good. I don't care.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't want it to go. Like,
but you, Matt.
So I watched a good bit of stuff this week. The most recent movie I watched is a movie called Incoming. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
It is what I like to refer to as the yearly raunchy comedy where high school kids are doing some dumb, weird fuck shit.
Awesome.
It follows these 4 kids. They're all freshmen, and they're just trying to like start their high school career essentially. Out of the 4 of them, one is popular by association because his brother is popular. So his brother is throwing a high school party, and so the younger brother invites his friends, and they all try to make plans to go. But then like after they all get to the party, the older brother tells him that he's only allowed one friend in the party, and that's it.
Okay.
So then he has to boot the other 2 friends out. So then the story then follows the other 2 friends, what they're doing, and then each of the other guys and what they're doing. So it honestly, it was funny. It was funny as hell. Me and my wife were cracking up with some of the actors that are playing the high school kids are unknown. Like I don't remember them in anything really.
Do they actually seem like they're of that age or close to it, or does it seem like
no? They all look like high school kids.
Okay, so like, it's not like they're like 30.
Yeah, it's not like Tom Holland is like playing a freshman. No, it's like legit. They all like really look like high school kids. It's funny. It's very entertaining. The kids play their roles really well. I'd like to see a second one out of it, to be honest with you, because the way it ended, it's like, nah, there's more to this. Like they can do some more with what's happening.
Would you say it's on the level of like a Superbad?
Yeah. Okay. Essentially it's Superbad, but like just this generation.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would think there's a crazy scene that happens in this movie.
Okay.
that probably rivals some of the stuff that happened in Superbad at one point. So it gets pretty wild. That's a really good one. It's on Netflix. Catch it if you can.
Those are the kind of movies where I feel like, again, like 10, 15 years ago, those have been huge in theaters. Now they're just kind of in this vacuum of direct to streaming.
It really is. And like I found some of the movies that I really have enjoyed have been the ones that I've just kind of come across from like direct to streaming apps.
Yeah.
And it's wild because like that movie, if it would have released, you probably wouldn't have seen it. But I mean, the only reason I think it released January of last year, actually, which is a wild thing. But yeah, it just kind of came across my feed, and so I watched the trailer for it, and I was like, okay, well that looks actually pretty funny. So I showed it to my wife, and she was like, I want to watch this. So we sat down and watched it. We both enjoyed it. Sitting on Netflix, I also watched this movie called Badland Hunter. It's a South Korean movie.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's wild. So it stars, I'm gonna butcher his name, but it's Ma Dong-seok. If you have watched like any type of action movie from Korea, you probably would have seen him. He's got a memorable face. He reminds me a lot of oh man, now I can't even remember his name. Fuck it. But essentially what happens is a big earthquake erupts in South Korea, and they essentially get put back into like a wasteland type of environment. Water is like the high dollar item people are trying to fight over and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And him and one of the guys he works with, they're hunters for their town, essentially. So they go out into the wasteland, hunt like animals down, bring them back, and then they like essentially feed the village with whatever they find. The villain in this movie is trying to rescue his daughter, and so he is like working with like reptilian regeneration to bring her back. And essentially I thought it was going to be like
sci-fi type,
a zombie type thing.
Okay.
Legitimately,
Right.
I thought that's what it was going to be, but it ended up being fucking like lizard people. Like he's essentially morphing these people into lizards. It's wild. It's a really good movie, and the action scenes are so clean in it. It's on Netflix. It's fantastic. If you guys get an opportunity to watch it, Dan, I think you would probably really enjoy it.
Yeah.
All in all, fantastic. I give that like a 8. That was a solid movie. I then ended up watching The Killer's Game. That's the Dave Bautista movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy, because so he starts off, he's a hitman for hire. He's like having these headaches and like these dizzy spells and stuff like that. Essentially, he meets a girl on a hit he's doing, and they kind of just fall in love. And he goes to the doctor, and then he comes to find out he gets diagnosed with like this like uncurable disease. He's essentially going to like stop, just like essentially just all of his functions are going to stop. That's essentially what he finds out. He gets told he has like essentially 3 months to live, and he's like, I don't want to do that. That's not how I'm going to live my life. So he then puts a hit on himself.
Okay.
Because he's like, if I'm going to die, in order for the girl that I'm in love with to get life insurance, it can't be a suicide. So I have to get taken out, and it has to be done like, smart and all that jazz.
Yeah.
So he goes to his handler, and he's like, I want you to put a hit out on me. Here's all the money I have. And his handler's like, no, I'm not doing that. That's stupid. I'm not going to do that. And so then Dave goes to like his rival handler, and he's like, I want you to put a hit on me. Give me like 24 hours. That's all I need. And just send whoever, come take me out. And she's like, okay, not a problem. I'll do that, because apparently Dave ended up killing her dad And so she's got like this grudge against him. Well, at like the hit starts at like midnight, and at like 11 o'clock, the doctor is like frantically calling him to tell him, you don't have this disease. The tests were all wrong. Like, I'm so sorry. We fucked up. Like, you're gonna live and you're gonna be fine. And so like now Dave is scrambling because he's already put this hit out on him, and the girl's like, yeah, nope, not gonna fucking do it. In fact, I'm gonna raise the hit and I'm gonna send everybody at you. So essentially it turns into like a John Wick type thing.
Yeah.
But it's it was done really well. And like the deaths are pretty fucking good.
What's that one on?
I found it on one of the apps, or like one of the websites I use.
Oh, okay. All right.
But it's really good. It's a really good movie.
I'll look for that one.
Yeah, please do. I also came across this movie with Viggo Mortensen, I think is his name. Green Book.
I know the Green Book.
Have you seen it?
I've seen parts of it.
Oh man, it is so good.
It's a good movie.
It is fantastic. It essentially tells the story of a black piano player. I forgot when it's set.
Isn't the other actor that I can't pronounce his name, but he was the guy that was set to play
Blade.
the new Blade? It's not gonna happen. Yeah, he's a good actor.
He is so good, man. Like, it is amazing what he can do, and I think this movie kind of gives you like another aspect of what he can actually do. Like, he's fantastic. But it's a great movie. And like you kind of they kind of at the end, you kind of see how their friendships developed and all that.
Yeah.
But all in all, fantastic. That I had to find on another website I use, because I don't think it's actually on any streaming app right now.
It's one that I have, but I want to say it was an Oscar movie 2019, 2018, somewhere around there.
2018 is when it came out.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it is very good. And I think those guys actually passed away in 2013. They actually both passed away the same year. Like, one went, and then like a couple months later, the other one passed away. It's very good, though. And then I watched this found footage movie called The Last Radio Call. Not good.
Probably not great.
Not great. I saw it because I had saw a clip of it, and everybody in the comments was like, "Oh my god, this movie was so scary and it was fantastic," and blah 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 blah. And anytime I see comments like that, I gotta watch it because
I have to know.
I have to know.
Yeah,
this is how I got stuck into watching The Terrifier. And it's not that good. The girl who plays the main character is not really likable at all. The idea behind the I guess the poltergeist type thing that's there is actually not bad, because it's like based from like a Native American story in the movie. At least she finds like this shaman, and he lives like on a Native American preserve, and he kind of explains the fact that the town itself is like cursed. And it's cursed currently by this thing called Red Sister. And he explains what she is and stuff like that. So I mean, the story is pretty cool, but the execution was just very poor.
I find most found footage movies, that's usually the case. It's usually like, boy, this premise sounds really good, and it's poorly executed.
Very badly executed. It wasn't that great. I found it on Tubi, so that's the only reason I watched it. Don't waste your time. But yeah, that's what I did. And ironically, I was talking to you about that. I really need to watch the last Mission Impossible because I never saw it.
You never saw the most recent one, Dead Reckoning?
No, no, I need to watch that because I did like Ghost Protocol.
Fallout?
I did really like that, and then Fallout. I enjoyed both of those. So I'm
Dead
gonna try
Reckoning's good.
I'm gonna try to watch that. Yeah, but that's everything that I have.
Yeah, we can kick it over to emails here. First email, I probably should have read this at the beginning of the show, but that's fine. First email comes to us from Brett from Austin, Texas. Howdy 572, question for y'all, and I apologize ahead of time. My question isn't political, but it has involved recent change in the White House. With Donald Trump now in office and some countries getting the tariff business, including China, which does manufacture and export console systems, do you think we will see this affect hardware sales like the PS5, the PS5 Pro, and the upcoming Switch 2? So I read something about this the other day that I thought was kind of interesting because if I remember correctly, what I read is it wouldn't affect the Nintendo stuff at all, be considering where it's manufactured, but it could affect Sony stuff.
Yeah.
So, will something come of it? I don't know.
It's really
time
too
right
early to say on anything about whether this is gonna what it's gonna do. I mean, there's certainly potential for it to make things a hell of a lot
worse. There's the potential there. I mean, that's the reason I pulled the trigger that I did. And like I said, right now, I would tell anybody that would be my only reason I would tell you to maybe pull the trigger if you are someone who wants to have the latest and greatest for GTA. Otherwise, I would tell you if you wanted to play the current games that are out right now, I can't see anything that takes that big of advantage right now. So but as far as like the stuff, it's more of a we're gonna have to wait and see approach.
Like, the Nintendo stuff is interesting because obviously the timing for it is rough for them if it were to affect them. We talked about it last time, like what could the price possibly be? I'm starting to see more and more stuff say 400, which seems correct, I guess.
I think the thing I saw today was that they do not have any plans to drop the price of the current Switch, which is crazy to me.
But
I guess at the same time, they don't have to.
They don't have to. Still sell.
Not at all.
But
it's us.
If the Switch 2 is 400 and that's like the price, if tariffs stuff affect that and make it creep up more towards 5, if that does affect it, I still think it sells is the thing. Like Nintendo stuff sells at a different rate just because people like are bought into that ecosystem, like just and in general. Like it's Nintendo. It's the thing that's been around forever.
It's always crazy to me, especially like in the time that we worked at GameStop, that there are those people. Because like for me personally, like I couldn't imagine being at this juncture only be invested in Nintendo.
Not anymore.
And not having at least one of the other platforms like an Xbox or a PlayStation just to play the stuff that doesn't come to that system. So, but there are those people and they're not. It's not as small of the population as you think.
There were a lot of people we had as customers that were Nintendo only. I only care about Nintendo. I'm here for
they would buy everything.
I'm here for the newest Nintendo game because I buy every single one of them. And then, my family is a Nintendo family, so that we had that one that would buy 5 of everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's even 500 because let's say it's 4 and it gets pushed to 5. If it gets pushed to 5, then that makes the cost of a PS5, but then the PS5 is going to get pushed up. So it's still going to be the cheapest alternative on
the market. It will, yeah.
The tariff stuff, like, I read about it, but I just try to block it out because it's like, what are you going to do about it? Except deal with it.
There's nothing you can, like, there's nothing you or I can do about it.
Right. I think a lot of it's a lot of bullshit, blowing smoke kind of stuff because instituting tariffs isn't just going to magically make jobs in America appear. We're not going to start manufacturing PS5s over here.
No,
not at all.
So it's like it's not going to in the long run.
In all honesty, I don't think I would want a PS5 that was manufactured in the United States.
Probably not.
Think about it. So.
I don't know. I think the tariff thing, the thing about it is, I think it might make prices weird for a little while.
For maybe
a year,
6 months, something like that.
Till something happens where it's like, okay, well, we got rid of this. But who knows? It's a weird time for a lot of stuff.
Maybe you're just not eating avocados for a while.
Maybe you're never eating eggs again.
Ever.
Who knows? But yeah, like I said, and I said at the beginning of the show, like I said, unless you are that nervous about it and you want to be prepared for GTA, right now I can't recommend getting one. The PS5 Pro. No. Next email we have comes from Will from Dallas, Texas. Hi guys, been listening to the podcast for a while. Now that we got the Capcom presentation out of the way this week, where is Resident Evil 9? I've had so many leaks surrounding this game in the last 8 to 10 months. It's really surprising to me that the game hasn't been officially announced yet. Any guesses? Do you think that it's even a 2025 game? I mean, it's still early in the year. And I think the reason it probably wasn't at this showcase is because they are 100% focused on Monster Hunter.
That was a Monster Hunter showcase with some other more remastering things in it.
You could, and the other reason why I would, and I think he hits the nail on the head. I think it's a fall 2025 game.
It could be.
Because that Onimusha, the new Onimusha, that's not coming out this year.
No.
So their fall is wide open. They're only focused on Monster Hunter.
And in the past couple, like, RE2, RE3 things, they announced those not long before they released them, right?
True. Yeah.
That was like 6 months.
I feel like that could, I feel like Resident Evil 9 is the kind of thing where either they have their own showcase or shows up at a PlayStation Direct.
Yeah. And there is one of those like confirmed for,
I think it wasn't confirmed for the Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Not long from now.
Okay. I don't know if it'd be this soon, but
you never know.
It really depends on when they're putting it out.
I could see RE9 being this time next year.
But I also will put out there, Resident Evil 8 was announced in January of 2021 and came out in May. So, like, there is a world where, like, they could announce it next week and it's out in May. They're ready to go.
I think it depends on how different it is, because 7 and 8 are similar games. And if 9 is a return to form, or if it's a completely change, like, it could take a little bit longer. But
I also think even though these games are different, they want to have some distance between it and Monster Hunter.
Yes, because they want to spread out their earnings.
They want to spread out their earnings, and like they know. Again, I think wasn't it whatever the 2018 Monster Hunter, was it Monster Hunter Worlds or what was it called? Okay, remember that was the first game that finally overtook Resident Evil 5 as their best selling game of all time.
And like. They put a lot of effort into those games now, especially because of that game. Yeah. And that game was phenomenal. And this one is probably only going to be better.
You and I have talked about, like, I want to wait until it's been out for a while and it's had some patches.
Playing past versions of it. And, every so often there's games like you and I talked about, like Civ 7. I'm glad I'm not buying that right now. It seems like it's a shit show. But in a year, that game will be fantastic. So,
and that's it. I wouldn't want to buy a game like Civ right at launch because they're always going to do DLC.
Yeah, and it never works.
Monster Hunter, I told you, is 2025's hot Black Friday game for us.
Yeah, we've got plenty of random bullshit to play in between before Monster Hunter comes out.
For sure. But yeah, as far as that goes, I still think I still think it's a game that could 100% could come out.
Yeah, and I can't really think of anything else Capcom that would do. Like, there's no Street Fighter game in the mix. There's what else? What else do they even have?
Well, and it's still like the fall landscape is wide open. The reason nobody wants to announce anything is because of the potential GTA 6 release.
Yeah,
so
you don't want to lock yourself in, and then all of a sudden GTA comes out the week before your release date, and you're like, shit.
Inevitably, what's going to happen though is if GTA does come out this fall and they do announce a date, whatever is it within a month of that will move.
Mm-hmm.
So
it either gets pushed up if it can, or it goes back 6 months.
It goes back, yeah, exactly. Next email we have actually returning email from the last time. Stacy from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Hi, dudes. Thank you so much for your recommendations in the last episode. I wanted to write back in and let you know that I decided to pick up a few of the games that you all recommended, but the one that I started first is Final Fantasy X. I picked up the 10-10-2 collection. I'm only a few hours in, but I'm enjoying it just as much as I did 7. Thanks again.
That was the perfect next step.
I think so. Yeah, like
if Rebirth and stuff. Well, if Rebirth was your first like major introduction to RPGs, you got a good example of what Final Fantasy is, but you got an action game. Moving to 10 gives you a great idea of what the other kind of Final Fantasy is, where it's turn-based and stuff. But it's still, like we talked about it last time. 10 is very heavily story. 8 and 9, they have story to them, but they're a little more loose. Where it relies on, 8's bullshit time travel universe merging shit, and 9 is, kind of a fantastical tale about clones and God, and 10 is more about I'm a dream man or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, But it's more straightforward, and it's more about I think 10 is much more character driven than 8 and 9.
Yeah, 10 is more of a character driven game, but I think also for people that are new to the franchise, I'd say that's the other like really easy one to come in at and get into.
The other greatest entry
8,
point
9 are a little more daunting. So
8 and 9, I think, only really are easy to come into if you've played original 7.
Yeah,
because then you get a feel of the PlayStation version of what a Final Fantasy game
specific era was, and then you're in on it. Yeah. Absolutely. So
10 will prepare you to play stuff like 13 and other stuff like that.
That makes sense.
And having played, Rebirth, I think 15 is a good place to go from there. But
I think 15 is definitely worth playing now.
Yeah,
if you have
the Royal Edition, like the
Royal Edition, if you have a PS5 or a Series X, I think because it plays how it should have when it came out.
So. But I think 10's a great step, and then I just hope Stacey gets into some of the weirder shit we talked about, like Star Ocean. To be
fair, she picked out a couple things, but she only mentioned 10. So I don't know what the other games she bought. Maybe she bought one of them. So be cool if we got somebody to play Ys 8. So.
Hey, if we can get one person to play Ys 8, we've done our job.
I installed Ys 10 the other day.
Boy.
So that's the first step. Next email we have comes to us from Andre from Springfield, Missouri. Hi, 572 crew. I just want to say I really enjoyed when you guys went through and gave some great recommendations to a listener last week on JRPGs. Do you guys ever consider on having a section of your show where you all just recommend a game, maybe like a game of the week to try? Thanks.
We can do that for next time.
We can do that for next time.
Pick like a random PS2 or Xbox game you really love and talk about it.
Or it doesn't have to be that old.
No, I know, but I'm just
current too.
Yeah, I mean, I've got plenty of random PS2 shit I love. It's a bad idea. It doesn't have to be
played. Obviously, it doesn't have to be locked to JRPGs either. But
I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna do one right now. I'm gonna pick here's a random PS2 game I love that nobody's ever played. There's also a PS4 sequel to it. Kyle knows what I'm talking about. It's Disaster Report.
Oh, yeah.
I love Disaster Report because it's such a weird... I don't even know what genre of game you would even call it. Because it's not even like a survival game. It's probably closest to more of like an adventure game. Like a point-and-click adventure.
An action-adventure
game.
Something
like that, where you're kind of just walking through a town and solving puzzles. But
I remember it,
It is a game where... you're probably not going to go back and play the PS2 one, but you can play the PS4 one, Disaster Report 4, where you're in a town in Japan where essentially there's like a giant earthquake, and it's all about like the shit that's going on around everybody and helping people and getting through these puzzles of like navigation and stuff. There's all these like sub-story things.
Yeah.
At one point in 4, like you're in this town that's like flooded, and you have to use a boat to go around to these like apartment buildings that are like flooded up 3 or 4 stories and help people out. It's just a weird little adventure game is the best way to put it. And it's got like weird offbeat humor, but it's also got collectibles and like you're rewarded to explore and like talk to people and stuff. But super weird game, Disaster Report 4. I have a platinum in it, not an easy one, but it's doable.
I'll throw one out too. I picked it. So I had originally played this game on Xbox because it was part of Game Pass for a long time. I actually just picked it up on the PlayStation Store last night because I never finished it. At this point, I'll just start it over again because I was maybe 10, 15 hours into it. But I guess we could call it an RPGs, but Crosscode.
Yeah, I love that game.
It is only $6 on PSN right now. Which is and it's the complete edition that has like the DLC and stuff they put out after. Incredible deal for that game. Very like if you like Chrono Trigger and stuff like that, it's very in line with that, but it also has like some really interesting puzzles and stuff. In it as well. Highly recommend. And like I said, you can't beat $6.
No, for that game is really fun. It's an adventure RPG, I guess I would call it.
Yeah, that's what I would put it as. Really neat art style to it. I don't know how long. I can't imagine it's more than like 23 hours. But
I want to say that's about how long it took me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got like some weird, almost like Golden Sun type elements of like environmental puzzle solving. It's basically one of those games where like you're someone playing a game and your character got stuck in the game.
Okay.
Yeah, and like that's the whole thing is like you don't remember who you are.
It's one of the only games where like I was playing it on Game Pass and then put it down for a while and wanted to go back to it and it was no longer on Game Pass.
Mhm.
And then it's probably been on my Xbox wish list forever. But like I said, when I saw it the other night for $6, I was like, you know, for that price, I'll start it over.
Super good game, and like
they made a physical version of it too, if you can find it.
Did they really?
For Switch and PS4.
Oh, maybe I should try to buy a copy of that.
You should look for that.
Yeah, I like that game a lot. It's also got having played through Sea of Stars after that. Sea of Stars has kind of like it's a similar kind of a game where you know what I mean, like in terms of like adventures, exploring and stuff.
Really
that's a cool game. I like the game.
Good music too.
Yeah. Matt, you got a weird one off.
Throw one out. I know it's on the spot. Dave the Diver.
Tenchu. Onimusha.
No, I would say Black.
Okay.
Talk about the Xbox shooter.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was actually, I remember playing that, and that was a whole lot of fun when I ran. I know it's on Game Pass right now, right? I think so.
I think it is one of the weird, like, EA. If you have Game Pass, you have, like, EA's version of it, and it is a backwards compatible game.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
That was one of those games, and that was at the time where they were like, check out all of the destruction tech.
There was the destruction tech and the audio
bullet
design.
Tech,
Yeah, I think that's what really drew me to it was like whenever I saw the trailer and the fact that you can literally just blow up essentially everything in there. I was like, yeah, I'm sold, man. That's all I want to do. I just want to shoot columns and buildings and watch this shit deteriorate. Like,
yeah.
So I think that's probably the one that I can think of right now. That if you're into that kind of thing, Stacy, or anyone else, but give it a shot.
I think that's a good idea, though. We'll add it. We'll add it to the show.
Pick a random game from
2 weeks, whatever
era you want. Just something that I like to think. Yeah, just something like nobody's played Disaster Report except.
I mean, for me, I would like to try and keep it as something that is like easily accessible today.
You can buy it digitally; it exists.
No, that I know. I'm saying, but it's not, not some weird like
some weird Super
Nintendo
game.
Nintendo Switch for $99 on eBay.
Hell yeah, or it's $6.
Our final email comes to us from Ryan from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Howdy, guys. Now that we have had our first look at Fantastic Four, do you think this movie being subtitled First Steps is a subtle way of this kind of being a soft reboot of the MCU? Watching over the trailer, it really seems like some things that we've all complained about over the years, including the quippy dialogue and the fact that the movie really seems to revolve around the idea of a family unit, are being completely turned around. Side note, what are your thoughts on it? So the Fantastic Four trailer dropped this week. I actually was surprised. Again, we live in this dumb era where like nobody can hold anything for the fucking Super Bowl. Everybody just puts everything out in the week leading up to it for ads. So I kind of figured we were going to get this trailer around this time because you want to start playing it up. It's a big release in July. I'd argue of Marvel's 3 movies this year, this is their biggest one. So
yeah,
Captain America probably would have been big, but at this point they just need to get it out and move away from it. And I think Thunderbolts will do okay, but I don't see it drawing people in like this potentially.
No, I'm looking forward to Thunderbolts. I think that movie will be fun. I don't know if it'll be good, if that makes sense, right?
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This looks good.
I'm amped. I think it looks great.
I'm still not 100% sold on Pedro Pascal.
That's the only problem I have with it.
But on the flip side, I am like 110% sold on the dude from The Bear playing the Thing.
He's pretty good.
Like he sounds so fucking good.
He's pretty good.
Yeah. So he sounded great. The little bit we got to see of Johnny.
Yeah, he didn't get to see too much of him, but like that, Johnny just needs to be like a cocky kind of a dick. But but a good guy.
Yeah, I love the setting of it because it's so different from anything else that we get Marvel-wise. So having this retro 50s/60s
retro
look to
like
it,
technology
awesome
type thing, yeah.
I I like the element of them, and that was the thing that kind of surprised me. But yeah, like throughout that entire trailer, it's all about the family, not in like a the one person I was watching do kind of a rundown of the trailer this week said that they used the term family so much they were expecting Dominic Toretto to show up.
But this is the whole point of the Fantastic Four in the Marvel universe.
I feel like this really captured that element of it more than the other attempts so far to make a movie.
Yeah.
Well, and as someone who's like has read and collected Fantastic Four comics, and they're actually like one of my like favorite like Marvel heroes. Like I don't say like superhero because it's 4 people, but if you count them as one thing, I'm excited. Like I love the setting. I love the vibe, the music, everything about it. Like, I'm interested to see, because we're talking about like, is this setting up a new universe? And I think it's more like not necessarily like a new universe, but the new phase of Fantastic Four, and
it really feels like it's gonna kick off a new Marvel phase.
And Captain America is putting in more, and like there's been mutant stuff here and there. Captain America is introducing adamantium, so that's that's Wolverine, and we're getting. I think we're finally progressing out of the Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth phase
era
into. We have a lot to play with Fantastic Four and X-Men, and other things we can like the Young Avengers and stuff we can kind of pull together. So,
how soon do you think you get an X-Men character show up?
Captain America.
You think in the Captain America
you
movie
could get someone? Someone's got to show up at some point. Because you can't. I don't think we can, because we've already done X-Men. I don't think you can just like redo X-Men. We've already redone X-Men. We did First Class. So I don't think, and like that's what I like a lot about the Fantastic Four one is there's no bullshit. He's already the thing. They already have their power. Like it's not a weird. Like we're not gonna.
And I feel
maybe we'll get like flashbacks or glimpses of what happened because they show them like on TV going to space, all that kind of stuff.
I feel like that's the kind of thing where they're gonna do it real fast.
Yeah, we don't have to do it.
We don't need.
You know who they are. We don't. We need to waste half of this movie building this, especially when Galactus is the bad guy. And thank God they did it correctly this time. But
yeah. He looks cool. The little shot.
Well, and then the Surfer's in the movie, and we didn't get a shot of that yet. I was talking to a friend of mine too about like this. It's like we say this a lot, but I don't need to see another damn scene from this movie at all.
No,
don't show me anything else. Don't show me the Surfer. Don't show me them transforming. I know we will, and it's gonna fucking blow everything. But I really don't need it. And I don't like how they do that with all these movies.
Unless they can do another trailer that's at this level where it just shows you just enough.
They want to give everything away. Captain America, like a general Marvel fan knows that Ross is Red Hulk. But you don't need to show him transforming into the Red Hulk in the fucking trailer.
I would also say Captain America falls under a category of a movie that should have been out 2 years ago.
Yeah,
so
it's taken too long.
We pretty much can put the pieces together of what that is.
But it's showing him actually transforming in the trailer is too much.
It is.
You have to start saving anything. Even if I know what's going to happen, you can save it for the movie. Which is why Fantastic Four, I'm sure they're going to ruin some other stuff. But
I said of the 3 movies this year, this would be the one that I would go to the theater to see.
And I think it is the most exciting for the future of the Marvel universe.
Absolutely.
But that being said,
it gives me a little hope back.
But that being said, is where does this fall? Because clearly it's in the past. But if it's in the past of the actual MCU, then it's post Captain America. So maybe superheroes aren't super weird. But then it's weird that nobody's referenced them.
Yeah.
But if they've been gone for so long, my thought is at the end of the movie, they get catapulted through time, and they come to now. And then that sets up everything else. Could they keep them separate? They totally could. Like, obviously. But the more I think about it, because people were complaining, like, Doom's not in the trailer. I don't need it.
The article came out the other day where it sounds like he's only going to be in those 2 Avengers movies.
Yeah, because A, Galactus is the villain. I don't need Doom hanging around.
No.
B, we've already, like, I don't know what we're doing with Doom. He has his own movie, but Robert Downey Jr. is Doom. And as I'm thinking more about what this possibly could be, is is Doomsday what the Kang Dynasty was supposed to be? Where instead of
Seems
one
like it.
Doom, there's dozens of them. And in one universe, Tony Stark became Doom. And that's why it's him playing Doom. And then maybe the Doom from our Fantastic Four universe is the reason they have to go to the future for Doomsday.
Yeah.
And they have to, like, there's something, I can see it, but we do need to pull them forward if we're going to do Secret Wars and all this other shit. And keep it relevant and don't fuck with the timeline too much.
I feel like the end of that movie is going to be wild.
Have you seen that they're thinking about bringing Jonathan Majors back as Kang?
That's fine. I think it's fine to do now because like all of that stuff, he was like fine.
Yeah.
But you can't bank the movie on him anymore. It has to be.
Exactly.
I think that would serve better is if they somehow did another season of Loki and he was just in that. Because he was very good in those.
More into the TV stuff.
He's very good in those. Leave him there. But I think the Doomsday is the replacement for what that was supposed to be.
I do too.
And multiple Dooms and stuff would be a threat on the level of multiple Kangs if you've read Fantastic Four comics and stuff. I'm very excited. It's tough because like the first Fantastic Four movie with like Chris Evans in them, I thought it was fine. The second one is not very good. No. And then there was the nuclear warhead that was fan-fortastic.
I did not watch it, but you did.
That movie sucks.
That was a bad one.
I've seen clips of it.
Yeah, and Fantastic Four, the thing about Fantastic Four, a lot of people don't know, like they have a pretty solid rogues gallery of people we have not seen yet. We've got the Negative Zone and the Annihilus Wave. Like there's so much other stuff we can do. And maybe they get bold and they kill off Johnny like they did in the comics.
Ooh.
Except he wasn't dead. Of course not. But I would like to. One of the reasons I'd like to see them come to the future too is because then maybe I get my Spider-Man Johnny Storm team up movie.
There you go.
Because they always kind of hang out in the comics and stuff. So that
for me, I think the biggest things I pulled away from it, like I like the setting. I thought specifically the musical score was really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then their outfits, that they all have matching outfits. We're not doing this weird thing where like we're not trying to do like some edgy outfit thing, but I also like that we're doing the classic like
they look like Fantastic Four outfit
as well. Yeah. Like they look like the Fantastic.
If we're gonna make movies based off of comic books, why is there such a thing about not making them look like the comic books?
Make them look edgy and dark and
it's just I don't know.
They don't need to.
No, I'm excited.
I'm excited for this. I think it looks cool.
Cooking with the little robot, and they're hanging out. And it's going to be good. I'm very excited.
Yeah. So that was, for me, that was trailer of the week. So over the. I
think it builds a very good level of be excited for this and try to get you excited for things we have coming. If we're putting this much care into this, maybe we can do that.
It's crazy to think about this, but isn't that Avengers Doomsday movie the May 2026 movie?
That, in theory, is the next one.
Big thing. Yeah. So, because I don't think Marvel has a fall movie this year. I think it's just Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four would have to build to it.
They probably will have something in between that.
They can throw something in Thunderbolts if they really wanted to, because that's one of those things where it's just going to be the Guardians type movie where it's off the wall.
Yeah,
dumbass things happen.
It'll do good its first weekend and it'll fall off. I think so. But I think, like I said, I told you, like I said, of the three, this is the one I was like, I would go to the theater.
I'm going to see. At this point,
I know you're going to see
Captain America on next Thursday, so we'll see.
I will hear about it from you, and I will wait till it's up.
Yeah,
but I will watch it when it's up because
I'm sure it'll be fine.
I want it to be good, but I don't know. So, but yeah, as always, send your emails into podcast572@gmail.com. Otherwise, we will be back in another 2 weeks for another edition of the podcast. Thank you for listening or watching.
Thank you, everyone.
Stay safe.